Real strength isn't just muscle, it's knowing when to flex. HVAC units tough enough for the extremes, but smart enough to know what's next. We engineer for chaos, so your home always stays comfortable. Train, built strong, engineered smart. It's hard to stop a train.
Train is a proud sponsor of the Phoenix Children's Hospital and Champions of Hope, helping provide funding for the hospital's care, life-saving research, and families in need.
Hey guys, Dave Ramsey here. Have you opened your electric bill yet this summer? In Phoenix, electric bills can hit hard. And if your home has old windows and doors, it probably seems like you're paying enough to cool the entire neighborhood. That's why I recommend my friends at Window World. You see, replacing old windows is one of those smart upgrades that can actually help lower your power bill while making your home more comfortable during these brutal Arizona summers. And here's what I like about Window World. They keep it simple. No high-pressure sales tactics or confusing special discount. Just beautiful, energy-efficient windows, patio doors, and entry doors at a guaranteed low upfront price. And they come with a true lifetime warranty. Get started today at windowworldphoenix.com. That's windowworldphoenix.com. Window World, simply the best for definitely less.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been asked many times how Morgan & Morgan became the largest injury firm in the world. I think I know. When someone comes to us for an on-the-job injury, we have a huge workers' compensation practice. But many times we find a defective product that was responsible for that injury. Luckily for them, we have a product liability section headed by my son, Mike. In addition to the comp case, there is a product case too. Other times, the injured worker is fired or harassed for bringing that claim. We have them covered. Our employment lawyers handle retaliation claims as well as wage theft and discrimination cases, and in some cases need to file for Social Security benefits. No problem. We became big for a reason. 30% of our new cases come as referrals from former clients. Hiring us is easy. Go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer, or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
KTAR News now.
It's 9 o'clock. I'm Colton Krolak. Multiple heavy monsoon storms ripped through the valley last night, bringing heavy wind, rain, and dust. Some areas, including Buckeye, saw gusts over 80 miles an hour, which toppled power poles and damaged electrical equipment, causing more than 40,000 people to lose power. Gabriel Lajero with the National Weather Service says it was the strongest storm of the year and the first of its kind for the West Valley this season.
This is the first real action that the West Valley has seen so far this monsoon. Unfortunately, it came with damage because, it was these thunderstorms were very powerful.
Lajero says we could see more storms tonight, along with potential flash flooding later in the week. As of this morning, there were still several thousand people without power.
Certainly, this slows down our investigative capacities.
With the city of Chandler announcing an end to its use of flock cameras, the city's police chief defended the technology.
The flock system includes license plate readers that give police real-time data on where vehicles are moving. On Friday, Chandler Police Chief Brian Chapman said one of his employees potentially misused the system. As uncovered in a standard audit, the city immediately ended access to the flock cameras. Chapman said this will impact ongoing police work.
Arresting criminals, furthering investigations, recovering stolen cars, and probably our most heart-wrenching ones is locating dementia and Alzheimer's patients who are driving around aimlessly.
The department is investigating the alleged misuse of the flock cameras by one of their employees and is not sharing details at this time. Chapman did say the privacy of residents was not compromised. Ballin Overstoles, KTAR News.
The Arizona Center for Economic Progress has released a study saying nearly half of our state SNAP participants have lost their food assistance since July of last year, which is around $600 million in benefits. Evan Taylor, Associate Professor of Economics at U of A, joined Arizona's Morning News to say this will have more of an impact on individual people than it will on Arizona's economy as a whole.
It's not going to have a huge impact on, say, the labor market or the unemployment rate as a whole. Probably a very small impact. Sort of the bigger impact is going to be on, those families that, need that money.
Nearly 400,000 people have lost SNAP benefits in Arizona alone. Mountain lion hunting season kicks off August 21st, but a recent lawsuit aims to curb the practice amidst sharp drops in the population.
Earlier this month, the Center for Biological Diversity issued a lawsuit against Arizona's Game and Fish Department and Commission. In it, the center asked the court to suspend issuing mountain lion sport hunting permits, with hunters between 2018 and 2024 killing 1,937 Arizona lions, half of which were lions under 2 years old. Additionally, the center points to 41% female death rates among hunted lions, which they say is more than double what can lead to sharp population declines. Robin Silver, the Center for Biological Diversity's co-founder, calls the hunting practices barbaric, unsustainable, and illegal, adding Game and Fish should put science and public trust first. Brandon King, KTAR News.
And now for a check on traffic, here's John Roller once again live from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
All right. Right now, Colton, the only slowing I'm seeing as far as the main lines of any significance is the northbound 51. That's where you are down to 2 lanes as you head northbound from Highland to Coulter. Just work your way to the left. It will cost you a few extra minutes as that backup starts to grow, but not too bad. Pretty expected this time of morning. That's it for the Valley main lines. We do have a crash at Cave Creek and Deer Valley Road, another crash at Daisy Mountain Drive and Gavilan Peak Parkway in the far North Valley, and a crash clearing 27th Avenue just north of Yorkshire. Of course, that's south of the 101 Awa Freeway. Traffic is brought to you by Day and Night Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Keep your AC running all summer with a tune-up from Day and Night Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Schedule now at dayandnightair.com. John Roller, KTAR News.
Well, if you weren't one of those that got a ton of rain and storms last night, you might have another chance today. We have a 40% chance of rain today. Partly cloudy, though, with a high of 108. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 90. And then tomorrow, more chance of rain, 30%. Partly cloudy with a high of 113. It's 93 degrees right now in Tempe. Weather brought to you by 72 Sold. Forget the traditional way. Sell your home in 3 days and pocket thousands more at 72sold.com. I'm Colton Krolak on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
The Mike Broomhead Show, KTAR News 92.3, and the KTAR News app.
All right, if you weren't watching the D-backs this weekend, you were in the minority here in the Valley. It was the season series ending this week with the D-backs winning for the first time the season series since 2018. Joining us to talk about this team, about the fan base, is CEO Derek Hall. This is one of the fun conversations, Derek.
It is, Mike. Good to be with you again.
Let's start with the team. This, from the fans' perspective, letting one get away, it was a series should have been a sweep this weekend. The fact that we're saying that about the D-backs versus what the Dodgers have built is an incredible thing. But this team and the resiliency of this team, you got your pitcher Rodriguez yesterday with a big comeback after a bad start, looked lights out the entire game. What does this mean? What do you have to say about the integrity of this team?
Yeah, I think you used the right word, resilient. They are resilient. They bounce back anytime you think that they're in trouble or they're going the wrong direction. They bounce right back. They don't let it affect them, a tough loss. And these 3 games were unbelievable. For 2 of them to have been 1-run games, 4-3 on Friday night, 2-1 Saturday, and then yesterday just a 2-run game, 4-2. It felt like a playoff atmosphere. I mean, the crowds were unbelievable. The fan support. Anytime you have the Dodgers here, as you know, Mike, it feels like 50-50 crowd, and whoever scores first sort of controls the building. That's why yesterday was so nice. We got out to that 4-0 run, and we really silenced all the Dodger fans. But to have over 136,000 fans for those 3 games, over 46,000 on Friday, over 46,000 on Saturday, and then yesterday nearly 44,000. And they're behind this team. They like this team. This team's a lot of fun to watch. We've had a lot of adversity to deal with this year, a lot of injuries. We're finally getting some of those guys back very soon. But they find a way to win. They find a way to battle. And here they are, 7 games over 500.
Because of the injuries, the concern for the D-backs has been pitching. But if you look at this series with the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani has 1 hit for the entire series. Freddie Freeman, who, let's be honest, is making a career out of playing the Diamondbacks classically, 1 hit in the series. This pitching with the D-backs is nothing short of stellar. Where's this coming from?
Yeah, I mean, they're pitching up to their potential. I mean, Erod's been like that all year. He really has. He's been consistent. He's been the leader of the staff. And we didn't see that the last couple of years. This is more of who he is. And he's a different type of pitcher right now. I mean, he's pounding the strike zone. He's using his changeup effectively. And then Brandon Pfaadt. I haven't seen a bounce back like that. I don't think in years, where a guy gets demoted from the starting rotation to the bullpen. Then he gets demoted back down to Reno so he could figure it out again. He comes back up, and his last 8 starts are arguably the best in all of baseball. And, he outpitched their ace, Yamamoto, on Saturday. But it started with Merrill on Friday. He was cruising along until he got that cramp, and I think it's mostly related to the heat in the building. That's going to happen when you have 110 degrees outside and you're opening the doors around 5 o'clock to let everybody in, and in comes that heat. So we try and keep it as cool and dehumidified as possible when Merrill's starting, but it finally got to him. And then it went to Pfaadt, and then it went to Erod. So we're going to have Soroka back on the mound today. He's one of those returns that we've been waiting for. He hasn't pitched since June. But you're exactly right. And the strength of this team this year, which everybody thought would be the weakness, including me, has been our bullpen. So all of our staff, all of our pitchers have really done a terrific job this year, keeping us in every game.
The mental toughness of Pfaadt, because I'm glad you brought him up. The emotions of being demoted to the bullpen, demoted to the minor leagues, to come back. And I was looking at his stats. I was actually heard it mentioned, and I went and looked. He is top 5 in all of baseball for like you said, the last 8 starts. He is not just pitching well, he is pitching elite. That comeback, that mental comeback, is something else.
It's terrific. And you really have to nod and tip your cap to our coaches down in AAA. They did such a good job just picking up what may have been a tipping factor, taking away the over the head in the windup, and now he's here, he's more deceptive. And his confidence is through the roof. But you talked about the individual and about the person and the personality. Mike, you're exactly right. I mean, when they first told him he was going to go to the bullpen, he wasn't upset. He said, "You got it. However, I can help this team." And he had to pitch some, in some dog games. I mean, he's getting out there in the 3rd inning, and we need him to go as long as he can to preserve the bullpen, like a guy who's got length has to do. And then when he got demoted down to Reno, he said, "I'll be back soon, no problem." And he went down there with a great attitude. He fought, he adjusted, and came right back up. And look at him. I mean, he's unbelievable right now.
Let's talk about the fans. It is one thing to say that there were over 40,000 fans starting one of the Dodger games, because it's a classic rivalry. From watching it on TV, it felt like a playoff atmosphere. But I watched post-game to see how many fans stayed in that stadium post-game to watch the interviews and to watch what was going on. That tells me a lot about the fan base and how much they love this team.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I mean, they were jam-packed behind the dugout waiting for that, final interview on the field so they could applaud the hero of the game, especially after Friday night with Waldschmidt, that dramatic home run to walk it off. We usually see crowds like that against the Dodgers, especially when both teams are battling, not necessarily for the division, but for a playoff spot. And we're starting to see it now with other teams. When they're coming in here, we're still getting that support. Could be tough this week. You've got the Rockies who, no knock on them, but they're at the bottom of the division right now, back to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. However, our clever marketing and ticketing folks, as soon as we walked off that game Friday night, put out a promo for these 3 games that your listeners and all our fans should take advantage of. It's 50% off all tickets for these 3 games. And all they have to do is use the promo code WALKOFF on dbacks.com, or just go to dbacks.com/SGT, I believe is what it is, but 50% off. So we hope to get some support here against the Rockies.
Yeah, and one of the things I heard in the post game, of course, they talked to Torrey about it, was you can't let down now. You come off a huge emotional series, the season series win, the home series win against the Dodgers, and you are playing a team that's at the bottom of the division, but they're still a professional baseball team, and you can't let down in this series. How do you avoid that?
You got it. No, you're so right. And it is difficult to avoid. It's like getting that break in tennis, and it's hard to win that next game on your serve. You have that letdown. It's natural. And these games were so intense, and every pitch mattered. And we as fans were hanging on to every pitch. And in the dugouts, you could see they were hanging on to every pitch, both dugouts. So you can't take the foot off the gas now, because the Rockies are coming in here, and we've played them well this year. And a lot of times things balance out, or, they're out to get you. We know that the Dodgers, before they came in here, I mean, Mike, I know that, the manager was interviewed after they got swept in Chicago. And he said, "We're going to play a team that embarrassed us right before the All-Star break in our home. So it's payback time." I mean, that's the mentality. And the Rockies are no different. So we're going to have to, keep fighting. And you got a pitcher returning from injury. So you hope that there's no rust there. He's looked pretty good in his rehab starts, but you're exactly right. You have to stay motivated, and the schedule doesn't ease up. I mean, we take off after this, and we go to Atlanta, who is, arguably the hottest team in all of baseball all year. And then you go to Boston, who right now is the hottest team in baseball at the time. So it's tough. And you come back and you got the Reds, you got the Cubs, you end up having the Phillies. We're going to get the Yankees. We have to go to Houston. We play Texas. I mean, this is a really tough schedule to finish it out. Oh, and our final 3 games of the season at the end of September are in San Diego. That might come down to it.
Yeah, that might be it. And I just love the direction that they're going. One question before I let you go about business. I know that there was a meeting on Friday, County Board of Supervisors, about the stadium. Last time we talked, you were cautiously optimistic. Where are you? Because there's so much that needs to be done inside the stadium off season. Are you any closer to having some kind of closure on this thing with the stadium?
I don't know if we're any closer, but we're starting to see a path to at least get to, clean negotiations. We've been out of the room in the executive sessions. They will kick me out so they can talk about the lease extension. But, as I said last time, Mike, we've been over a year and a half where we had to get the board set. It was set. We had to make sure that we had bylaws. We adopted those bylaws. We had to make sure that we hired an executive director. We did that. And most importantly, we have to have a lease extension or we can't do anything. So now, we're probably a couple of weeks away from a draft coming our way. Then we're going to be able to sit down, our team, along with the smaller subcommittee that is responsible for the lease, and hopefully we can get there. But it's going to be difficult. It's going to be rocky, as you know. And there's certainly a lot of bureaucracy involved, which unfortunately we just need all heads to be cooler, and we need to prevail.
Speaking of heads being cooler, one of the things people were saying about the weekend series is that in spite of you having the AC on and the roof closed, it was still hot in there with over 40,000 people in the stadium. I know that the fan experience and the fan comfort is paramount for you, and you're working hard in so many different areas, but there's not much you can do here. Are you concerned that the longer this goes, the less able you're going to be to address that in this offseason so that fan experience is better start of next season?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've had some hard deadlines to get supplies that we need for the roof, for example, and we may be losing time on that, as well as the HVAC. We're looking at the off season trying to do as much as we can. It's probably it's an antiquated system. It's a cooling system. It's not like your typical HVAC. So there's a lot to do. We've got old, 25-year-old rusty pipes that are going to have to be replaced as well, and leaks, as you know, all the time. But that's probably going to be a 2-year deal. We hope we can do enough in one off season to make it much cooler. But anytime in July, August, as old as this system is, if it's 110, 115 degrees outside, it's going to be warm in this building. And we do the best we can to cool it. And I think our staff does a great job. They've learned how to do it to keep the doors shut and keep those rollers down where, the loading docks are. And we're going to continue to try and make it as comfortable as we can for fans. But you're right. That is number one to me is fan comfort and fan safety.
Derek, I am so happy this conversation is about this fight that you're in for a playoff spot, and I wish you the best, and let's keep talking.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you. Thanks, my friend.
That's Derek Hall. He is CEO of the Arizona Diamondbacks, talking a little bit about the stadium and the upgrades, but it's nice to be talking about this team and the success they're having. Coming up, we're going to talk about AI, and I'll tell you why we're talking about AI coming up here in just one moment. Before we get to that, Sanderson Ford and their summer sales event that continues. An opportunity for you to save a bunch of money on fantastic vehicles and a huge selection, but also your financing options. They're going to save you money as well. This is the time to get to Sanderson Ford and get a vehicle. The 2026 models of Ford F-150, STX, and the Ford Explorer both are starting at under $39,000. That is an extremely great price on those vehicles. And once again, the selection is excellent because they are number one, the Arizona's largest Ford dealer at Sanderson Ford. The 2025 Bronco Sport starting at under $28,500. So the vehicle prices are right. Also, your financing. If you are qualified, 0% financing for 36 months, 0 payments for 90 days, 0 maintenance fees for 2 years. Plus, you're going to get $1,000 toward your down payment on select Ford models. They are located at 51st Avenue in Maryland, which is the midpoint street between Bethany Home and Glendale, or online at sandersonford.com.
Listen during Give-a-thon week for Phoenix Children's Stories of Hope, presented by Madame E. Homes.
All I wanted to do was make sure that Easton knew I was there, and I started singing in his ear, and I held his head, and I just wanted him to know I was there. His face was almost unrecognizable.
They knew it was pretty severe, so and then they took him up to the ICU.
The Giveathon for Phoenix Children's is presented by Your Valley Hyundai Dealers and Y Refi.
Thinking about senior living? I'm Jamie West, and here's the best advice you'll get. Talk to people who already live there. Beatitudes campus in North Central Phoenix has a resident panel coming up soon. You can talk to residents, ask questions, hear real experiences, and enjoy a complimentary brunch. Find out why Beatitudes campus is a senior community like no other. Reserve your seat by texting RSVP to 620-620 or go to beatitudescampus.org. Live brightly, age boldly at Beatitudes Campus.
Message and data rates may apply.
Before Arizona heat turns unbearable, get your AC ready with Ace Cooling, Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. Whether you need an AC tune-up, fast repair, or a new energy-efficient system, Ace helps keep your home cool, comfortable, and efficient all summer long. Beat the rush. Call Ace today at 602-536-4475 for free estimates and expert service. That's 602-536-4475. Or visit us online at acehomeaz.com. Acing Arizona's comfort needs since '94.
KTAR News Flash.
At 9:18, I'm Colton Krolak, and this is what you need to know right now. Last night's monsoon storms brought heavy rain, dust, and wind, especially in the West Valley. Some areas got gusts over 80 miles an hour, which toppled dozens of power lines and left more than 40,000 without power. As of this morning, several thousand people were still without electricity. Chandler is moving to get rid of the 40 flock cameras in its boundaries, which are used by police to get data on where vehicles are moving. The decision came after the city learned on Thursday a Chandler PD employee may have misused the flock system. That is now under investigation. And a drink spiking prevention program now in effect in the city of Tempe, requiring about 60 bars and restaurants to offer or sell drink spike detection kits to customers. All of our top stories are just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app.
You know, I used to think all money managers were the same until I spoke with Fisher Investments.
Really? How different are they?
Fisher's investment counselors are dedicated to service, not sales, keeping clients up to date on their portfolio.
Well, they probably just invest in a bunch of mutual funds like I do.
Nope. They build a tailored portfolio based on their clients' personal goals, helping them stay on track for a comfortable retirement.
Well, they must make commissions selling products.
Actually, Fisher doesn't sell any commission-based products. They're a fiduciary, and they believe that's a conflict.
Then they have some kind of complex fee structure.
Nope. Fisher has a simple, transparent fee that's a percentage of their client's portfolio. So they do better when their clients do better.
It sounds like Fisher really is different.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Fisher Investments. Clearly different wealth management. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com/different. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
White spots on your dishes? It's not your dishwasher. It's your water. Hard water leaves buildup on more than just your dishes. From your pipes to your appliances, don't let it take a toll on your home. And right now, you can save up to $500 on a Connecticut whole home water solution when you mention Gatos. Improve your water with Aquazona. Call 602-910-6570. 602-910-6570 or visit aquazona.com. Aquazona Connecticut, your authorized independent Connecticut dealer.
Nobody wants to think about their toilet until they have to. A weak flush, water that runs on its own, or low water levels in your bowl, your toilet is telling you something. Ignore it long enough and it becomes a costly repair. Parker & Sons offers a toilet tune-up for just $89. A full inspection that catches small issues before they turn into big ones. And if anything needs fixing while we're there, the $89 fee is waived. Call or text 602-2REPAIR and get your toilet tune-up scheduled with Parker & Sons today.
Happy Monday. Meghan McCain will join us live from Washington, D.C. as the battle over the Strait of Hormuz heats up. And how will these economic headwinds impact the midterms? Join us for Mondays with Meghan at 3 on Outspoken with Bruce and Gatos on air, online, and on the KTAR YouTube channel.
All right, we've got in the control room, we've got Paul on the board, we've got Elizabeth producing this morning. Let me ask the both of you a question. How often do you use AI in your day-to-day life? Is it pretty common for you now?
I mean, I think yes. It's more common because they've incorporated in like Google searches now.
Okay.
You type in on your phone anything, it pops up the AI summary up
Yep.
top.
So that's what I use. That's how I use it. What about you?
Yeah, I would say even like with school too, just like homework help, summaries. But now that I'm kind of out of school, not as much.
Okay, so since you brought up school, because Mark Zuckerberg is got a vision for super intelligence, AI for everybody. You know, Meta had this big lawsuit against them. It's what, $800 or $900 million because they're talking about damaging young people. But he wants to offer AI to every individual, saying that when AI is controlled by certain big businesses and small groups of people, it becomes dangerous. It should be available to everyone. You brought up school. Did you guys see the story about what happened in Mississippi?
I did, yes.
Alcorn State. So it's an HBCU. A history professor at Alcorn State put out for their midterms, and they weren't allowed to use AI. So what he did was he put in white text, and I don't even know what that is, but he put inside the directions that to use Madagascar in some way that made no sense. And 32 of the 35 students failed that part of the midterm because they obviously used AI and they didn't read all of the directions and they did what they weren't supposed to do. Of the 35, 2 complained and challenged the grade, and only 1 was successful, saying she read it, but she thought that was part of the assignment, so she just let it happen.
Huh.
What about the cheating part of this?
Yeah, I don't think obviously they shouldn't have been cheating, but if you're trying to catch your students, it's tough. Well,
he said it doesn't bring him any pleasure to see them fail part of the exam, but on the other hand, they're sacrificing their education by allowing AI to do it for them. Is this an issue? I mean, how much do you think other students? I don't think you'd ever cheat, but how much do you think students are using AI and not doing it themselves?
Oh, I think the majority of people are not
really
doing it themselves, for sure. Yeah.
It's easy work, easy cop out, copy and paste the text.
But then what is it doing to the quality of it? Is it hurting their quality of being able to do their job?
Oh,
yes.
Definitely.
So how do you fix it? I mean, AI has become such a big part of our lives.
I mean, I know that there's stuff like in job interviews, for example, they have softwares that detect AI. I think that needs to be implemented in a lot of things now.
I did a search. Have you ever searched yourself on AI?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I searched myself. My brother, who passed away, was killed in Iraq back in 2003. I did a search on him. It's amazing what AI can dig up in a good way. But I also this weekend got curious. We talked last week about. I'm only going to say it once. I hope I don't turn it on in your house or wherever you are. We talked about Alexa last week. So just to be curious, I asked, what do you know about me? And it was, I don't really know anything you haven't told me. Have you ever done any behind the scenes look at me? No, I haven't. We haven't done anything like that. That's against our policy. So they're saying at least they're not doing it.
Hopefully she's honest.
But I'm not really worried about it. But it does, when I start thinking, there's got to be people that are saying, man, they can dig way too much up on. And if I can just do this for myself with AI, you could find anybody and anything they've done.
Mm-hmm. It's scary.
But this AI, but having it available to everyone, I don't think Zuckerberg's wrong.
No.
That if they can supply it through Meta, where everybody has access to it, and it's not just big corporations that are able to do this or small groups of people, it kind of levels that playing field for the average person. Someone's going to use it for horrible things. We know that.
Absolutely. We're already seeing it.
Yeah, but there's good that can come of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I was just because of the age difference, I thought, there's got to be something. And you guys using it for school and being able to use it where they allow you to use it.
It's more of a tool.
It's a tool. Yeah. It should not be a crutch.
There you go.
Right. All right, what we're going to do in a moment is we are going to talk with Shira Tanzer. She is our Education Solutions reporter here at KTAR News. She is doing a week-long series on teacher shortages, how we got there, what's going on, how to solve the problem. It's available at KTAR.com all week long. She'll join us live in studio here in just one moment. Let's talk about Tombstone Tactical for a moment and what they have going on for the entire month. Every weekend, Friday through Sunday, all month long, different manufacturers with sales inside the store, whether it's firearms, it's ammunition, it's accessories, it's gear. All of it is on sale each weekend of the month, Friday through Sunday, to help you save a ton of money. I want to remind you what they do for their customers as well. They buy firearms. They'll trade firearms if you're looking to upgrade. They co-sign. They also have financing available. They want to make sure that you can get what you need, what you want, when you want it and need it. So they work hard for their customers. They always have sound advice. But these weekend sales with different manufacturers starts to give you a bunch of choices so you can find the right thing for you from the right manufacturer for the perfect setup that you want. They are located on the southbound frontage road of the I-17 between Dunlap and Peoria. You can't miss them. Or you can find them on their website, tombstonetactical.com.
Rosie on the house.
Every Arizona homeowner's best friend for over 30 years. Saturday mornings 8 till 11 on KTAR News 92.3 FM and the KTAR News app.
When you see this in your kitchen,
the stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
you hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow, my fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen says a lot about you. Let it brag with Wyman.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
430 people in the Valley died from the heat last year. This summer, more lives are at risk. For someone living on the street, the heat can quickly become deadly. No shade, no water, no relief. This is tragic, and it's preventable. Thanks to you, Phoenix Rescue Mission is providing life-saving water and critical care to our neighbors in need. Help save lives this summer. Learn more at phoenixrescuemission.org/code red.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Rivera, Senior Marketing Manager with Mattamy Homes. We're proud to be the Stories of Hope sponsor of the Phoenix Children's Hospital Give-a-thon. In my own family, my son was diagnosed with leukemia. He's now doing great, all thanks to the wonderful medical care of PCH. Call 602-933-4567. You can also text GIVE to 620-620. The children at PCH need our help now more than ever.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-330-8323 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-330-8323. That's 800-330-8323. What do you have to lose? Call 800-330-8323. Again, 800-330-8323.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
KTAR News now.
It's 9:31. I'm Colton Krolak. Last night brought some scary weather around the valley with strong monsoon storms causing plenty of damage.
Thousands of people across Arizona are waking up without power this morning thanks to those monsoon storms that rolled through State 48 last night. Some parts of the West Valley saw wind gusts over 80 miles per hour. Litchfield Park and Buckeye each picked up more than an inch of rain. At the peak last night, more than 40,000 customers lost power between SRP and APS. So if you're heading out this morning, keep an eye out for down power poles. Steer clear of them and never touch a stray wire. If you spot one, go ahead and report it to your local utility.
And that's meteorologist Jorge Torres with our TV partners at ABC 15. Arizona Cardinals fans were full of cheers Saturday as Larry Fitzgerald got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
To the Cardinal fans back home in Arizona, you guys supported us on and off the field over the years. You showed up through wins and losses. It's been 22 years and counting, Arizona, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to replenish the well of goodwill I've been lucky enough to drink from.
Fitzgerald spent all 17 years of his NFL career with the Arizona Cardinals. He was one of 5 players inducted into the Hall of Fame this year alongside quarterback Drew Brees and kicker Adam Vinatieri.
I would hope to see other cities in the Valley follow suit.
The city of Tempe has created protections for customers at around 60 bars.
The city's drink spiking prevention program is now in effect, requiring bars and restaurants under the program to offer or sell drink spiking detection kits to customers. Tempe Councilman Randy Keating says they worked with local businesses to come up with the plan that he argues will benefit both bars and patrons.
The vast majority of young people are much more likely to visit an establishment that has these basic protections in place. I think this will be a boon to Tempe bars and Tempe nightlife, and I'm really excited to see it rolled out in its entirety.
Bars in the program are also required to post signage near restrooms letting customers know the drink spike detection kits are available. Tempe is the first city in the state to adopt an ordinance to prevent drink spiking. Ballin Overstoles, KTAR News.
And now for a check on traffic, here's John Roller live from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
All right, thank you very much, Colton. I think the Monday morning commute into town is pretty much cleared up. Only light slowing coming in from the West Valley on the eastbound I-10, starting right at the 202 South Mountain transition. Gets a little heavier there as you come through the stack into downtown, but not bad at all. That's it for the Valley main lines. Of course, we do have slowing on the northbound 51 from Highland to Coulter due to construction in that area. Also have a crash at Cave Creek in Deer Valley, and 27th Avenue just north of Yorkshire had an earlier crash south of the 101 Iowa Freeway. That has cleared away. Traffic is brought to you by Southwest Gas. John Roller, KTAR News.
Hopefully you're not too tired of the rain already, because it looks like we're going to get plenty more of it the rest of the week. Today, a 40% chance of rain, partly cloudy with a high of 108. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 90. Tomorrow, a 30% chance of rain with a high of 104. And then Wednesday, a 50% chance of rain with a high of 101. It's 94 degrees in Mesa. I'm Colton Krolak on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Mike Broomhead, KTAR News 92.3 and the KTAR News app.
All right, there are a few things in education that are givens that most people agree on. We may not agree on the solutions, but we agree on the issues. One of them is a teacher shortage. From the report that was written, 59,836 public school and charter school teachers had in 2025 about 14% left the profession. Our Education Solutions reporter is Shira Tanzer. She joins us. First of all, thanks for coming in studio.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. This series this week is about addressing this teacher shortage.
Yeah.
The first part that's up on the website today says, how did we end up with a decade-long teacher shortage? What did you find?
Yeah, so it really, started years ago. A decade is, approximate, but I really started looking around the Red for Ed movement, because that's when we first saw salary is, one of the big topics when it comes to teacher retentions. And that's really when the salary problem got addressed and kind of started this whole issue, when all those teachers kind of took to the streets and asked for a 20% pay boost, and they got it. So once they got it,
and it was 77,000 teachers marched on the Capitol.
Yeah, it was
when that movement started, they had huge support, and there were a lot of teachers involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was kind of looking at, if that happened, why are we still seeing salary be such a problem for these teachers? Teachers in Arizona make an approximate salary of $64,000 a year, which is $7,000 less than the minimum living wage in the state, according to the National Education Association. So that's a big gap. So I kind of looked at that, and I spoke to a few different people about it. One of them was Peter Boyle from the Center for the Future of Arizona, and he really explained that Red for Ed specifically it did boost our salaries for our teachers, but it took us from, as he said, way, way down to way down. So we were still low. We're still on the lower side. We're still in the bottom half nationwide when it comes to teacher salaries.
Have you looked at in this when it comes to teacher salaries? Because I've looked at it superficially, that there are some districts that are above the national, that line you're talking about. There are some I think it's Phoenix Union and some other school districts that pay fairly well. And there are other school districts, usually the smaller districts in challenged neighborhoods, where it's well below that line. Why the diversity in that? Is there any study on why that's happening?
Well, each district can have their own salary.
Right.
So it goes based on district funding, but it also goes on the history of that district specifically and what they've passed and what their budget looks like for the upcoming year, and if they've had bonds and overrides that have passed or failed. And it really comes down to so many different factors, but every district has their own salary. So teachers can choose which districts to go to, but if you've been a teacher at a district for 20 years, you're not necessarily going to want to move districts, even if other districts do have a higher salary.
So the teachers I've talked with, some of them that I've talked with, have said there's a couple of other things. One of them is discipline in the classroom, that they don't feel supported by the administration, that the old joke in elementary education is that you send a kid to the office and they come back 20 minutes later with a juice box and a snack. And the other is professional development, that they either feel as if they're not mentored or there isn't the opportunity to grow in their skill set. Did you find that also was an issue here?
I found both of those things. I would say salary and support were the two most brought up topics when it came to reasons for leaving and or staying in the classroom. Developmental issues is definitely a separate thing as well. A lot of these teacher residency programs are training the teachers how to teach, but not necessarily how to deal with misbehaving students or parents or anything else that could kind of get in the way of that classroom learning. At the same time, you're also seeing teachers say that they're not feeling supported by administrators, and that kind of added on top of the salary. I spoke with a teacher who recently left over the summer because it was just she wasn't getting paid enough, but also as other teachers' positions were being cut, herself and her colleagues had to pick up more work, but they weren't getting paid anymore, but it still had to be done. So it's just a stressful situation for teachers who are dealing with all of those factors.
Right.
But yeah, those three are the ones that I've heard brought up the most.
So when it comes to solutions for this and the look at what people are saying, because the pay issue has got to be addressed through the legislature, and then the school boards themselves and the superintendents then have to distribute that money to the classrooms. We all know that's part of it. That's going to take other people's involvement. But as far as the administration goes, is there a movement where administrators are addressing the lack of support idea, that if they can be more supportive, maybe some of these teachers will stick it out longer until the pay goes up?
Well, that is something that is definitely being looked at by legislators as well. Superintendent Tom Horn said that he's actually working on legislation right now that would require administrators to support teachers when it came to disciplining students. Not sure exactly how that would play out in the classroom or what that would exactly look like, but that is something that he is actively looking into. I also spoke with a teacher who left for a year because of his low salary and ended up coming back. And what he said was that his administration was so amazing that he kind of was willing to just go with it and wait it out until his salary got enough. And that's in Buckeye. So that district is one that maybe doesn't have the same administrative problems. But I do think it's something that school districts will start looking at as we see them trying to keep teachers. If they keep leaving, something's going to have to change.
Because I don't think that teachers are any different than any other profession when it comes to this, that I think most of us feel as if we're a little bit underpaid, that we probably deserve a little bit more money. But more than that, it's how we are treated. And you're right, it's support from bosses, it's support in my career. I want to feel that my growth is valued by you to make me better at what I'm doing. So addressing those issues are the ones that seem like that is directly in district control, that support of staff, whether it's discipline in the classroom or otherwise. And as you said, some districts are addressing this. Do they have a plan where they're telling their teachers, or have you seen a plan where they're saying to teachers, we are hearing you and we're going to be better at this?
It seems like some districts are addressing it, are trying to be better at support, and some may not be even looking at that yet. I think right now a lot of districts, especially the ones that have closing schools across the state, are really more focused on just keeping their districts alive.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this is something that is kind of falling to the back burner a little bit, which isn't great for teachers, but the governing boards, the superintendents, the principals may be focused on other things like budgeting to keep their schools open in the first place. And they may view that as something that's more important. Whether or not it is up for debate, but that is what teachers are feeling. But the district administration may be focused on something a little different.
Well, I read this first installment, and I think what you do is so fascinating, and you're so good at what you do. What is this week going to bring? What can listeners, if they want to listen to what's going on in Arizona's morning news and when you're on, but also what can they find on the website this week?
Yeah, so have the first part of the web series up now. It is kind of about the background, the data, a lot of breaking down the numbers of what we're seeing right now and how we got there. Tomorrow's will be about the solutions. So it'll be from teachers and officials, everybody kind of breaking down their own suggestions for how to improve it, as well as on air, there will be pieces throughout the week on different parts, on the background, on hearing from teachers themselves on how ESAs play a role, and then at the end of the week, solutions, and that's on KTAR.com right now.
Shira, I appreciate your work. It's always good to talk with you. Maybe later on this week we can do a catch-up on where we're at.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks. That's Shira Tanz, our Education Solutions reporter. Find it at KTAR.com. She'll be on air with our different shows all week long as well. Coming up, we are going to talk about who are the real experts and who should we be listening to on a multitude of topics. That's all coming up here in just a moment. Sweet James. I can't say enough about Sweet James as a client now myself. It is one of the only people that I recommend to you that I hope you never need. If you're ever injured due to someone else's negligence, you're going to be glad you've heard me talk about Sweet James if you contact them. They've been named best attorneys in America, been in practice for over 25 years. They have the resume is stellar, been to court over 500 times, and yet they maintain a 98% success rate. They've recovered over $2 billion for accident victims. All of these things add to that resume, but I can tell you now from personal experience as a client, they are very responsive. They are very understanding. They gave me great peace of mind. I focus on healing. They focus on fairness, and that peace of mind is so, so valuable. So I'll say it again. If you're injured due to someone else's negligence, you need Sweet James. That's sweetjames.com. That's sweetjames.com or 800-9-million. 800-900-0000.
The KTAR News app gets you breaking news 24/7, plus streaming audio from Arizona's news station, short videos, viral clips, weather and traffic updates. Download the KTAR News app, presented by America Roofing.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know you can't cook. You're not one of those people who say that they can, but when people come over for dinner, they find out the hard way, you can't. You can't even microwave popcorn, and that's literally just one button. Plus, measuring and patience are huge parts of cooking, and that's just not you. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Pricing coverage match limited by state law.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Every student deserves choices in their education. This fall, choose the way you learn. Choose flexibility and personalized support. Choose a cutting-edge, award-winning curriculum. Choose Primavera Online, and you'll be choosing a school that's 25 years strong and can give you a high-quality online education. We're tuition-free, accredited, and now enrolling grades K to 12. Enroll at ChoosePrimavera.com. That's ChoosePrimavera.com.
Oh, hey, Sarah. Did you hear my daughter Katie got Camper of the Week?
That's a big deal.
We got a big deal, too. Right, Mom?
Honey, shh.
What's that?
Okay, that Hyundai Santa Fe, I only paid...
Nice.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days, or 1.9% APR for 72 months on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Plug-in Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Offers end September 8th. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
KTAR News Flash.
At 9:45, I'm Colton Krolak, and this is what you need to know right now. Last night's monsoon storms brought heavy rain, dust, and wind, especially in the West Valley. Some areas got gusts over 80 miles an hour, which toppled dozens of power lines and left more than 40,000 without power. As of this morning, several thousand people are still without electricity. SRP has completed the Gilbert Road pipeline, which will deliver water stored underground to the Arizona Canal at 3.5 miles long. It took 5 years to install and can move 20,000 gallons of water a minute uphill from south of the Salt River to the Arizona Canal near Gilbert Road and the Beeline Highway. Chandler is moving to get rid of the 40 flock cameras in its boundaries, which are used by police to get data on where vehicles are moving. The decision came after the city learned on Thursday a Chandler PD employee may have misused the flock system, and that is now under investigation. All of our top stories are just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app.
Hi, folks. Jody Jackson here. My friends at Y-Refi are humbled to be this year's co-presenting sponsor of the Phoenix Children's Hospital Give-a-thon. And at Y-Refi, they understand college didn't turn out how a lot of us hoped. The degree? Check. But the debt and detours, not what anyone planned. That's why Y-Refi helps struggling borrowers refinance private student loans with a plan that actually works. Visit YRefi.com today. That's YREFY.com. Y-Refi is not available in all states.
Hi, it's Lisa Lund. If you're self-employed, you know getting a mortgage isn't always as simple as handing over a W-2. But don't assume you can't qualify. Whether you're looking to buy a home or access the equity you've built, to pay off debt, remodel your home, or simply put cash back in your pocket, Lund Mortgage has financing options designed specifically for many self-employed borrowers. Every self-employed borrower is different, so don't assume the answer is no until you have talked to us. Give us a call or go to lundmortgage.com. That's lundmortgage.com.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
The Mike Broomhead Show. KTAR News 92.3 and the KTAR News app.
All right, if you're just jumping in, we just had a great conversation with our Education Solutions reporter. Her name is Shira Tanzer. You can find out more addressing all week long about the teacher shortage in Arizona, how we got here, and what some of the solutions being suggested are. Find it at KTAR.com. She'll be joining a bunch of the different shows all week long here at KTAR as well. So make sure you're following up. I just think it's a great series and a very important topic. I found a story that gives me a direction. So I don't want to spend all the time on just this with the time I have here. But it has to do with who do we listen to and who are the real experts. This is something kind of near and dear to me because although I don't do a lot of hunting and fishing in Arizona, I have in the past. And it is something I'm very passionate about because of the people that are involved. If you ask me who the real experts are in environmentalism, it is the hunters and anglers in Arizona. It's farmers and ranchers in Arizona. It's the people that don't just live off the land, but live with the land, that have a vested interest in it. You know that those hunting and fishing licenses that you pay for, or that they pay for the counting of the herds to make sure that the herds of game animals continue to flourish throughout the state of Arizona. It's a big part of our tourism. So when you have activists that are, when I say activist in this way, I think it's a negative, where they have a political agenda for what they're doing, and yet their voices are the ones that you hear the loudest. Off the hunting and fishing topic, when it comes to mining in Arizona, it's the activists that are just flat out anti-mining. Well, you look at how that's affected America. When it comes to rare earth minerals and the need for them, the market has been absolutely cornered by the Chinese, and it's become a national security issue. I don't think that there is another country on the planet that is more focused on doing those things the right way. I'm talking about doing them in the most environmentally friendly way that they can be done. And it has to be done. There's not even an argument from the detractors that are saying it doesn't need to be done. They just don't want it done here. And we're the best at it. That's my humble opinion. When it comes to who really understands better, here's a story. The Center for Biological Diversity, which is in the title. You don't have to know anything about the organization. You can tell this is activism. They have filed a lawsuit against the Arizona Game and Fish Department and Commission to challenge the rules around mountain lion sport hunting. So KTAR.com, you can find this story. What I find fascinating about this is they call it cruel. They call these. The fact of the matter is, managing predators is safer for human beings. It's safer to keep the herds alive. I just watched a video that is not apples and oranges. I just watched a trail cam video Last night, my brother sent me from Florida, from South Florida in the Everglades, where a Florida panther took down a 10-point buck, which in the wild is exactly what predation is. And that's also a part of maintaining the herds, realizing that predators are also going to be a part of diminishing the herds, which is why hunting and fishing licenses count the herds of game to make sure that they're managed in a way that keeps the ecosystem in balance. So if you allow somebody in that is absolutely anti-hunting, this is what you get. I'm going to give you an example from my real life. This is something I've been talking about and dealing with my whole life. I've lived in two places for the majority of my life. I grew up in Southwest Florida, and I've been in Arizona for 31 years. Two geographically completely different places, both of them equally beautiful. So I grew up in the Everglades. I grew up going out on airboats and fishing and hunting in the Everglades and in the swampy marshlands of South Florida. It is one of the spookiest, most beautiful places on earth. If you ever get a chance to go to Florida on vacation, don't just go to the beaches, although I love the Gulf beaches and even the Atlantic coast. But the Everglades are a must-see. The ecosystem is spectacular. There was a time when I was much younger that alligators were a protected species, that they had said that the numbers of gators had been diminished to a point that they were not endangered, but they were protected. So they put a moratorium on the killing of alligators. Within a very few short years, there were so many alligators that they had to reverse and put an open season on alligators for a while, because they were not just nuisance alligators. They were killing the wildlife. They were in neighborhoods. There were stories of children being killed by, and these are real stories. On my birthday one year, there were 3 kids walking near a pond at a golf course, and an alligator took a 4-year-old child and dragged that child and killed that child. So this was becoming so massive that they had to reverse this environmentalist activist policy because it got so out of control. And now there's a system of balance. And now there are licensed trappers that when a nuisance alligator, they're either relocated, or if they're too old to be relocated and they've been humanized, they've got to kill them. But there is a system that works. Here in Arizona, talk to farmers and ranchers about what these predators can do to herds of animals. What these predators can do on hiking trails. How many of you watched the videos where human beings have been stalked by them? So there is a balance that has to be set, whether it's this or it's mining or it's any of the. How about the fact that we don't have enough refineries? Let's talk about copper mining. It's one of our 5 C's. The state of Arizona, we mine copper. The Resolution Copper Project takes 30 years to get off the ground, and finally they're moving in the right direction. But what happens is 25% of our nation's copper needs will come out of that mine. And after that happens, there's one smelter. I think there's 2 left in the entire nation. One of them is in the western United States. We don't have enough ways to refine our own copper. We send so much of our copper out of the country. We ship it across the world to be refined to then be shipped back. And many times we pay a tariff to ship it back. How many refineries do we have? California is closing down refineries. What is that going to do to the price of fuel in the future and the stability of fuel in Arizona? And how long it takes to get a refinery planned and a refinery built. We could do it more environmentally friendly than the rest of the world, but we're reliant on other countries to refine the fuel we need in the U.S. How much sense does that make? And who are the experts we should be listening to? To me, that's the great question. Why are we listening to these people that are not experts? They're activists. I appreciate activism, but when it becomes a national security issue, there's a problem. And so we should always ask, who are we listening to and why? Speaking of Resolution Copper, I want to mention that they sponsor the Amazing Arizonans podcast. And the Amazing Arizonans podcast are great stories right here from the Grand Canyon State. For over 3 years, we got a new season coming with some of the biggest names you'll recognize in Arizona history, and other names you may not know live here in the Valley now. They make their home here in the Valley, and they are doing a great part to making this state the greatest in the country, in my opinion. So you can find the Amazing Arizonans podcast. You can find it at KTAR.com. You can find it on our news app. You can find it on our KTAR YouTube channel. please check out these podcasts and let me know what you think of them, because I love the direction we're heading with these. Coming up just after 10 o'clock, we're going to go to the Middle East. We're going to talk about the shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, what it's doing to oil prices, and is this something that we are going to see a peaceful resolution to in the near future? That's the question, is how quickly can we get a peaceful resolution and move forward and open up the straits and get back to commerce as we knew it? Is it going to happen in the short term, and who's saying yes, they believe it will? Speaking of Resolution Copper, I want to mention something else that they're doing in our community. They just awarded $110 million in U.S. contracts to Advanced Underground Mine here in Superior, Arizona. They have been awarded approximately $110 million in contracts to Major Drilling America, Red Path USA, and Advanced Exploration. So they are up and running, and this is a program moving in the right direction. It's going to supply 25% of our nation's copper needs for the next 50 to probably 75 years. It's the second largest deposit of copper that's ever been found, and it's right here in Superior, Arizona, bringing jobs to the community, bringing stability to the copper market, bringing tax money into the state coffers for all the growth that we want to do. That's what this project is doing. Now, I don't expect you to take my word for it. Do your own homework. So do what I did. Go to their website and see the great work they're doing across the state and across the country. ResolutionCopper.com.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
KTAR-FM, Glendale, Phoenix.
The big box testosterone franchises want to squeeze you in on their schedule. Vital for Men is different. We're Arizona's original men's health clinic, open 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and we accept most insurance. Personalized care, by men, for men. And right now, your first testosterone test is completely free. Stop settling. Call Vital for Men or visit vitalformen.com today. Vital for Men, where Arizona men go to get their edge back.
It's Gatos. GLP start for free at Red Mountain Weight Loss. For a limited time, they've waived the startup fee on all programs. You'll get lower prices than the big telehealth companies with no hidden fees. A specialized diet plan to help you succeed and expert care from real doctors. Get the care you deserve at a price you can afford. Come and see them in person. Book your consultation from the comfort of your own home or office via telemed, and they'll ship your medication directly to your door. Get started for free. Only at redmountainweightloss.com.
KTAR News now.
It's 10 o'clock. I'm Colton Krolak. We've seen some strong storms this monsoon, but nothing like last night's, according to Gabriel Lajero with the National Weather Service.
This was powerful. We were measuring winds from Doppler radar between 60 and 80 miles per hour. So it's the most powerful activity we've seen so far this monsoon.
Meanwhile, that's left thousands without power. Here's Ann Porter with APS.
We know that we have 42 poles down, and it's across 13 different sites. And so it's a large area.
More than 40,000 SRP and APS customers lost power last night. As of today, or this morning, there are still several thousand without power. KTAR Eyes on the Economy. Mortgage interest rates are hovering close to 7% these days. Will that keep people out of the housing market?
Couple that with international uncertainty and high consumer prices. Is the housing market in for a bad second half?
Housing prices are still really high, but they've sort of plateaued, especially, in the Phoenix area. They've come down a little bit over the last couple of years.
Evan Taylor is an associate professor of economics at the Eller College of Management at U of A. He tells Arizona's Morning News home sales have dropped off a lot from back in 2021 when those interest rates were in the threes, but he's really not seeing a hard drop in sales. LaDonna Harvey, KTAR News.
In other economic news, a new boutique hotel has opened in Mesa. Mayor Mark Freeman says the 233-suite hotel is the first new hotel to open downtown in decades, marking a development milestone for the city.
This is phenomenal. It's kind of like bookends. We're here on the east side of Maine, and then as you travel west, we have a lot of development here, so it's exciting.
The hotel at Main and Center Streets has 76 guest rooms, 2 restaurants, and a bar. Several thousand mountain lions across Arizona are susceptible to hunters every year. According to a recent lawsuit by the Center for Biological Diversity, the practice is leading to sharp drops in numbers.
The Center for Biological Diversity is suing Arizona's Game and Fish Department and Commission less than 2 weeks before mountain lion hunting season begins. Data from the center shows nearly 2,000 mountain lions were killed by Arizona hunters between 2018 and 2024, which Robin Silver, the center's co-founder, called barbaric, unsustainable, and illegal. The numbers show 54% of those hunted lions were under 2 years of age, and 41% overall were female, which would dramatically reduce the number of potential lions in the population. Brandon King, KTAR News.
And now for a check on traffic, here's John Roller live from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
All right, thank you very much, Colton. Right now, Valley Main Line's looking very good. Only one spot is slowing, and it's right at the eastbound I-10, transitioning to the northbound I-17 right at the stack. But once you're to McDowell Road, you are good to go, and we still have slowing. Heads up, this is going to be around for a while. Lane restrictions, northbound State Route 51 from Highland to Coulter. You're down to 2 left lanes. Lean to the left as you come northbound. On the 51, we do have a crash at 63rd Avenue just south of Cactus, and don't forget 51st Avenue in Orangewood. That's north of Glendale. That's where we still have some power lines down from the monsoon storm. John Roller, KTAR News.
Plenty more chance to see some rain this week. Today, a 40% chance. Partly cloudy with a high of 108. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 90. Tomorrow, 30% chance of rain. Partly cloudy with a high of 104. And then Wednesday, that's going to be your best chance for rain. 50% chance, partly cloudy with a high of 101. Weather brought to you by 72 Sold. For the traditional way, sell your home in 3 days and pocket thousands more at 72sold.com. I'm Colton Krolak on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
The Mike Broomhead Show, KTAR News 92.3. and the KTAR News app.
All right, as we're watching the economic pressure that's happening from oil prices jumped up again this morning, about 3.5%, about a little over 4% today across the board in both indicators for the futures for both Brent crude oil and for West Texas Intermediate crude oil. We look at the WTI because that's our oil. And that has jumped also a little bit over 4% today on the questions of what's happening in the Middle East. And this is changing on a daily basis. There is a lot politically here that is going to be on the line for not just the president, but for many other people. So the questions about the U.S. economy, how it's connected to inflation, the CPI numbers are coming out this week. We are going to see a little bit later this week the consumer price index. How elevated will it be because of oil prices? What areas, what other indicators are we seeing increase in prices? We know that food remains very, very expensive. So it's all connected to what's happening in this geopolitical world. The president of the United States has said, and this is where you can agree or disagree, but he's been pretty emphatic, so is his administration, that if we are going to, and they believe that we will see peace in the long term, that the Iranians can never have a nuclear weapon. And we've got to do everything we can to ensure that they don't begin to rebuild. And when it also comes to opening the Strait of Hormuz and making sure that no damage can be done. So there are battling opinions on this, on the U.S. ability and the Iranian ability militarily. And so when you look at it that way and you say, okay, what can they actually do? I played this earlier. I want to play it again. A reporter asks the president about threats that the Iranian regime is making against American companies in the region. And the president wants to know what exactly they were threatening. This is an interesting exchange.
Mr. President, the Iranian government threatened a bunch of U.S. companies today in the region, including Google, Apple. With what?
What did they threaten them with? BB guns? Or
well, that's
they don't have much left to threaten.
My question for you is, are you...
I don't know. I mean, what did they... You made a statement. What did they threaten them with? I don't know. Tell me, how did they threaten them?
Well, all I know is that they threatened them, sir.
What does that mean?
Fair enough.
They said something nasty?
Is the government in touch with these companies? Are you helping to backstop them?
You don't even know what the threat was. What was the threat? I haven't heard it. What was the threat? Did they say they're going to blow them up? They're going to hit them? They're not. You know what they're not going to do? They're not going to hit them with a nuclear weapon. Yeah.
Is it something you're concerned about, sir?
No.
No, and he says no, he's not concerned. And so that's the question I have. I understand politics in America. If you disagree with us being in the Middle East, if you disagree with this, I get it. And we can debate whether or not it's a valuable thing. What we can't debate is the facts of what's actually happening. They have no air capabilities. We can fly over Iran and we can drop bombs. We can do whatever we want, and they have no ability to stop us whatsoever. In the Strait of Hormuz, they still have the ability to do damage. They have drones, they have missiles, but what they have left, and you look at how they've been behaving with the indiscriminate bombing of things. They've got the Houthis now that are harassing the Saudis. Long term, they can't win a protracted fight with us. But how do we get commerce going? It looks as if the White House is shifting and saying, we control the Strait of Hormuz. We've got a blockade in place. They've turned, I think they said, 55 ships around, that they are not allowing any commerce from the Iranians whatsoever. And the stranglehold that it's putting on their collapsing economy, they believe eventually is going to force them to do something. In the meantime, as good as our economy is on a world spectrum, it is not nearly as good as it should be. And a lot of that has to do with the inflation that the American people are pushing back and saying, we don't want to be the ones that foot this bill. So that's the battle. That's where we are in this country. I'm supportive of the effort, not because Donald Trump is president, but because I've been watching every American president try to deal with the Iranians for decades, for close to half a century, and nothing has worked. Economic pressure hasn't worked. Economic easing of pressure hasn't worked. Negotiations, diplomacy hasn't worked. And they continue to threaten, and then they continue to act out on those threats throughout the world. And it's only going to get worse. The ability to make cheap drones and make them deadly. We saw what happened in the opening salvos of this conflict. What they were doing was they were not only were they going after American military assets, which is what we were going after, Iranian military assets. They were firing at their neighbors. They were firing at anything they could go with an overwhelming force, they thought. We were able to thwart those attacks. So now what? If they don't have the capabilities, but they do have the desire, what they've shown us in the past are two things, in my opinion. Number one is they have a huge appetite for suffering of their people. They have no problem making their people suffer. Where in the U.S., the political pressure of suffering, a different level of suffering, but suffering, higher prices, elevated grocery prices, elevated gas prices, many people just barely keeping up with what they need to pay their bills. In America, that's a real suffering. I'm not diminishing it, but it's different than what their people are enduring and what they've endured in the past. And they have got this huge ability to say, we're willing to do that to get to our objectives, which is to wipe out Israel and to wipe out the Western world if they can. Any one of their enemies, even enemies within their own faith that disagree with them, this theocracy thinks violence is the only answer. And there are many leaders in the IRGC that are not going to walk away easily from a fight if they believe they can keep on fighting anywhere. That's just one of the areas that they have proven to be, that they have a huge appetite to allow their people to suffer. The other thing that they have proven is that they have a desire for violence. That violence is the answer to them. It's something that's kind of foreign to the United States. Although we do act violently, we act with the strategic precision and every chance we can. And we also act violently until we don't have to, and then we stop. This is part of the rub. This is part of the internal, anguish that's going on within the administration. Is that they're dealing with the school of thought that says, let's pressure them economically, let's hold off on the military action. In the meantime, the Houthis continue to harass and bomb the Saudis. The Iranians are making threats. We know that they've already tried through hackers to get at our water system. That's another thing we have to talk about. the leveling of the playing field when it comes to our internet and our grid, that everything being controlled by computers as it is. We know Iranian hackers going after water, and if they can control our water, the damage they can do with never setting foot on American soil. So we know that these internet attacks, and the federal government's been warning against these with local municipalities and state governments. Where are we on this cyber warfare? That to me is another big issue. Because if we think that just being the number one superpower militarily means we're safe, we are falling asleep at the switch. I guarantee you that there are experts in this, that are experts in the grid technology, experts in cyber terrorism from the Joint Terrorism Task Forces that are watching this every single day. And if there's an area that they are closer to having a level playing field with us, it certainly isn't militarily. It certainly is in this world. So we've got to be diligent on every front. And then it's my belief that the only way that they are ever going to make a good faith move is when they have no other option. The delay tactic, if you look at what's happening, they did it again this weekend. Everybody gets close to a deal. They've agreed in principle in a couple of areas. And then all of a sudden, they come out with new demands. They want economic relief. They want some kind of payout. That wasn't part of the deal that when their negotiators were agreeing. They've changed once again. They have changed the rules. And this has been a tactic of theirs for decades, and not just theirs. Hamas did this. Hezbollah does this. The Houthis do this. That when there comes time for a negotiation, they say one thing. Once there is an agreement made, they come back hours later or a day later, and they say, no. In addition to that, we want this. You wouldn't do this in any other negotiation. You'd walk away and say, you're not negotiating in good faith. You are wasting my time, and you're wasting your time in an attempt to make me look bad, that when I walk away from this negotiation, it's going to be my fault. And the U.S. just can't fall for it anymore. It's got to be something that we stand strong on, and we don't allow them to do this to us anymore. Period. It's just something. It's just amazing. All right, what we're going to do in a moment, we're going to talk economic policy. Before we get there, I want to remind everybody we have a new at your fingertip, better than ever app. The KTAR News app has been redone. It's been revamped. It's got a cleaner design, and it's the news you can trust. If you haven't downloaded it, download the news app. If you have downloaded it, update your news app. It's easy to do, and you're going to love the results. Coming up in a moment, we are going to talk about the economic policies inside the U.S. We'll get to this here in just one moment. First, let me talk about Dr. Behbahani and all of the staff at Central Valley Dentistry. He's an elite dentist. When it comes to the practice, they call themselves the Full Smile Makeover Center. If you're not happy with your smile, they offer all-on-4 implants, same-day teeth. Walk in the morning, walk out that afternoon with a brand new smile. Invisalign, veneers, crowns, root canals, cleanings, all of it. Dr. Behbahani is not just a practitioner, he's an instructor. In other words, he teaches other dentists. That's how qualified he is. And what they're doing at Central Valley Dentistry is they want to make sure this is affordable for everyone to love their smile. Broken teeth, missing teeth, they're offering you $1,500 off a complete dental implant smile restoration. It includes your final zirconia teeth, all in, no hidden fees, no surprise cost. Mention the name Broomhead when you call their office at 602-246-0385 or mention my name on their website, centralvalleydentistry.com.
Join us for Give-a-thon Week, August 17th through the 21st. Arizona's kids need you, and we're going to rock the train phone bank with your help. The Give-a-thon is presented by your Valley Hyundai dealers and Why Refi.
Bad driving habits are hard to break, but good driving habits are easy to form, especially when they can lead to a discount on your auto insurance. With Farm Bureau Financial Services, the safer you drive, the more you save. Drivers like you are saving an average of $351 per vehicle. So buckle up, learn more, and find an agent at fbfs.com/save. Individual savings results may vary. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
Somewhere right now, a teacher is staying late to grade papers and spending their own money to buy classroom supplies, and they never ask for a thank you. We believe they deserve more. Outspoken with Bruce and Gatos and our presenting sponsor, your Valley Toyota dealers, we pay tribute to a teacher with a $2,500 bonus. Text the word teacher to 620-620 and nominate a deserving teacher. Pay tribute to a teacher is sponsored by your Valley Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Message and data rates may apply.
KTAR News Flash.
At 10:16, I'm Colton Krolak, and this is what you need to know right now. The intersection at Stapley Drive and 7th Avenue is reopened after a Sunday night crash between two cars around 8:15 last night. Mesa police say they responded to a crash involving a pickup truck and an SUV. The crash was fatal, killing 44-year-old Idalinda Apolinar and 74-year-old Gloria Matias. Two other adult occupants were involved in the collision and sustained serious injuries that are not life-threatening. Arizona Cardinals legend Larry Fitzgerald is having a busy week. On Saturday, he was officially inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And today, the Arizona Cardinals announced they're retiring his jersey, meaning no one in the franchise will wear his number 11 jersey ever again. The team will hold a ceremony at halftime during their Week 7 matchup against the Denver Broncos at State Farm Stadium, where they'll also induct Fitzgerald into the franchise Ring of Honor. And a drink spiking prevention program now in effect in the city of Tempe, requiring about 60 bars and restaurants to offer or sell drink spike detection kits to customers. Owner of Brick and Barley, Whitney Wingfield, says she's happy with the ordinance landed after working with the city on it, adding customers should feel safe going out to get a drink. All of our top stories are just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app. A look at Wall Street right now. Red across the board. The Dow Jones down 124 points. S&P 500 down just a little bit more than 2 points. And the NASDAQ down nearly 75. For more money news, visit the Business Center at KTAR.com.
What keeps you up at night? Do you wonder if what you've saved will be enough? If your money will go as far as you plan? Or whether your retirement will look the way you imagine? What worries you? Everyone's concern is different, but ignoring it won't make it disappear. This is Ron Paul. You may not be able to predict what comes next, but you can take steps now to diversify your savings with precious metals before uncertainty becomes urgency. My friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit explaining how gold can help diversify your IRA or 401k. Just text the word SECURE to the number 989898. There's no cost and no obligation. Just free information to help you consider your option. Take the first step with Birch Gold. Text the word SECURE to the number 989898.
Still buying plastic water bottles? You don't have to. With Connecticut, you can enjoy great tasting water straight from your faucet. And right now, save up to 20% on a Connecticut K5 drinking water station when you mention me, Gatos. It's the same system I have in my home. The same water I drink every single day. Stop hauling around plastic water bottles. Call Aquazona, 602-910-6570, or visit aquazona.com. Tell them Gatos sent you. Aquazona, Connecticut, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Happy Monday. Meghan McCain will join us live from Washington, D.C. as the battle over the Strait of Hormuz heats up. And how will these economic headwinds impact the midterms? Join us for Mondays with Meghan at 3 on Outspoken with Bruce and Gatos on air, online, and on the KTAR YouTube channel.
All right, let's talk about this, the economy and what direction we are headed. We talked earlier about hospitals as the plan from the DSA candidates. And I got to say this, listen, we can talk about political differences. I don't demonize anybody. I just think that DSA, I think any form of socialism is wrong for America. Although I can understand why younger people love the sound of it, because in theory it sounds like, hey, listen, we're going to have wealthier people pay a little bit more, and then working class people are going to live a little bit better. And isn't that really what the America's all about? It just never works out that way. The other part of this is the jobs report that was out, that we're hearing the negativity. And there's no doubt that things are negative. But there are areas of our economy that are growing. And I want you to hear who I think when it comes to the working class, there has been somebody once said to me that I'm like the Mike Rowe of Arizona. That is probably one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten. I think he might be insulted, but I think it was one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten. And Mike Rowe is doing an interview, and he's talking about the workforce. And this is Mike Rowe talking about politicians being worried because of people in the workforce.
We had $1.1 trillion in outstanding student loans when you and I talked last. Now it's $1.8 trillion. Most of that's held by kids who either started a four-year degree and dropped out, or who got one and statistically aren't working or not working in their chosen field. That's a bad number. Meanwhile, we've got 400,000 jobs in construction right now, twice that many in the defense industrial base. It's bananas. And I'm not sure believe me completely, but not a week goes by when I don't get a call from some CEO of some consequential company, some of whom you mentioned in the monologue, or an elected official, governors mostly, and they're freaking out. Like, they've done the math. For every 5 tradespeople who retire, 2 come in.
Yeah, and that's the world we're in. I was the beneficiary of a lot of this in my day. 1985 was when I really entered the adult workforce. I turned 18 in June of 1985, and I started immediately after my birthday as an apprentice or a helper electrician. And that industry served me well until I got into this industry. And so I'm a huge trades advocate. But I want you to listen to a little bit more. The NEC director, Kevin Hassett, talking about the economy and the jobs and where some of the job improvement is going on right now. This isn't a defense. There are areas that are growing that we should be paying attention to.
Yeah, I think that one of the things we're seeing is that these jobs numbers are getting revised left and right. You can remember over the last couple of years, there were millions of revisions. And the bottom line is that if you look at the overall economy, then things are really, really booming. As an example, there are 83,000 construction workers building factories right now. That's a number that we've never seen before.
So let's stop there for a moment. 83,000 workers building factories in America. Those will be jobs that won't require a college degree. I will be being totally honest about my life. I regret that I don't have a college degree now. It means more to me now. And I would love to have that work. I will put my skill set up against anyone, but I did not have the discipline as a young man to do the coursework to earn a degree. And anybody that has, I have the ultimate respect for. This is not speaking against college degrees. But I am also an example of success, meaning I've supported myself and I've never been unemployed in a trade where I didn't need a college degree. I went to schools and specialized training, but I did not have a degree. I've never been saddled with student loan debt. So here we have Mike Rowe talking about all of these young people that went out and did what they were told and they got a college degree. They can't pay off their debt. They can't get a job that pays enough. There's another side to this. Right now, there's 83,000 workers building just factories. What about if we were to take young people interested in this and get them in that pipeline a little bit sooner?
Initial claims for unemployment insurance are the lowest they've been since World War II. There are more job openings than there are unemployed workers. So there are all these things that suggested the numbers should have been really strong. And when it didn't come out strong, we sort of dug in and we saw that the 2 things that made it negative, one of them was a reduction in government workers, and it was mostly teachers at states, taking July off.
So let's just talk about the U.S. economy. And the side of this is we're talking about DSA candidates becoming more and more popular. Americans vote with their wallets. And when you are told, as a young person entering the workforce, the chances of you buying a home in your 20s is almost zero, that living the American dream is going to be harder and harder, that paying off your student loan debt is going to be more and more difficult. You did what you were asked. You did what you were told. And then you start hearing about the people that are making a bunch of money. The Abdul El Sayed, the candidate who wants higher taxes, when he was asked about free health care, he said, what about healthcare CEOs making $20 million a year? To a young person that thinks, maybe I'd like to start a family. I certainly would like to have a career. I'm not making enough money to pay my student loans, but these guys are making all that money. Of course, class warfare tickles your ears to hear there's a way to defeat class warfare. Fact is, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And as a young person, I look back on my years of struggling where I didn't make a whole lot of money. I started out at making somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 an hour when I started as a tradesman. But I worked my entire life and was never unemployed, ever. And I made a nice living as I got older. And now you look at what skilled tradespeople are making, and there is a world out there for people in the U.S. economy if they go and look for it. And I just hope that we are going to stop looking at democratic socialism and the government is going to fix what ails you, because I don't believe they do. And that's maybe where you and I disagree. If you ask me, do I trust a CEO and a board of directors in a major corporation more than I trust an elected official, I will tell you I will trust the working person and the business owner 100% of the time. I would trust them more. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more about what's going on in the world of laws and how it's harder for you to own and keep your home. We'll do that here in a moment. But I want to remind you, since we're talking on this topic, there's a special education series that's happening looking at why we have so many teacher vacancies in Arizona. You can read the special coverage at KTAR.com. You can listen every morning on Arizona's Morning News, 92.3 FM on the app or the KTAR YouTube channel. Our own Shira Tanzer has a great piece. She'll be joining the shows throughout the week. We are going to talk a little bit more about all of these things next.
KTAR News pays tribute to Valley teachers.
So we partnered with your Valley Toyota dealers. We wanted to come into your classroom, just take a couple quick minutes, and give your teachers some money.
Nominate an outstanding teacher for a $2,500 check. Text the word teacher to 620-620 and pay tribute to a teacher. Message and data rates may apply.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
At Train, tough comes standard. But real strength isn't just muscle, it's knowing when to flex. HVAC units tough enough for the extremes, but smart enough to know what's next. We engineer for chaos, so your home always stays comfortable. Train, built strong, engineered smart. It's hard to stop a train.
Train is a proud sponsor of the Phoenix Children's Hospital and Champions of Hope, helping provide funding for the hospital's care, life-saving research, and families in need.
For over a century now, Ford has been part of America. In my family, it's been generations. Paul Calvisi here. My grandfather worked for Ford Motor. My first car, a classic Mustang, still have it. But going to our Desert Ford dealers today means getting more than a vehicle. We're talking a full suite of benefits like complimentary Ford mobile service or try Ford pickup and delivery. Yes, to and from your door, and it's easy scheduling in the Ford Pass app. Tough would be built Ford tough. More than a slogan, it's an identity of the F-Series trucks, and the all-new 2026 F-150 is the best yet. With a completely redesigned interior and exterior adventure, how about the Ford Bronco Sport? It says, let's get it, with 5 available trims so you can forge your own path. We recently bought a new Explorer at our Desert Ford dealers. Love the flexible seating up to 7. All the cargo room, the advanced tech. Bottom line, Ford is the future at our Desert Ford dealers. Just click buyfordnow.com.
Arizona license number 222486.
My name is Frank. I'm a retired Phoenix property crimes and burglary detective.
My name is Roxanne, and this is my daughter Jacqueline. I have a 6-bedroom home. My husband travels often for work.
Typical burglary entry is done through the easiest form of entry that they can find. If it's just a normal break-in that an alarm company is reporting, it may take some time for an officer to get there.
I would definitely call the standard alarm system a false sense of security.
You need to create a deterrent that's other than just an alarm system or locking your house. I found this system with the screens being probably the best security deterrent that I could find.
I actually have the ability now to sleep through the night and not worry when it's just my children and I here with these security screens.
Protect your home, protect your family with the original Bulldog security screens. Get all the details and schedule online at BulldogSecurityScreens.com. That's BulldogSecurityScreens.com. Insist on the Bulldog. Bulldog Security Screens. They're tough.
Thinking about buying a home? Curious what's really happening in the market? Tune in to Keeping It Real Estate with Amy B, where real estate gets real. We break down the latest market trends, mortgage updates, insider tips, and strategies you actually need to win in today's market. No fluff, no jargon, just straight talk, smart advice, and a little fun along the way. Catch us every Saturday at 5 p.m. on 92.3 FM KTAR News. Whether you're buying, selling, or just love staying informed, this is the show you don't want to miss. Smart moves start here.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
KTAR News now.
It's 10:32. I'm Colton Krolak. Iranian officials saying the Strait of Hormuz waterway will never fully reopen until the U.S., quote, corrects its behavior to Iran with a list of demands.
It is a long list there. They're saying that not only does the U.S. have to let up on its blockade, not only does the U.S. have to pay reparations for damages caused by the war effort, it also has to agree to stop saying anything negative about the Iranian regime, that it's got to take all forces out of the Middle East writ large.
That's ABC's Shannon Kingston.
KTAR News. Water Watch.
A new SRP pipeline will allow the water utility more flexibility to manage water supplies, especially in times of drought.
The 36-inch pipeline pumps the water uphill 3.5 miles from the Granite Reef underground storage project to the Arizona Canal near Gilbert Road and the Beeline Highway. Sharon Morris, SRP Director of Water Construction, tells KTAR the project took 5 years to complete.
Along SRP's canal systems, we have municipal water treatment plants. So our municipalities can then treat that raw water to drinking water standards and put it into their own distribution systems for our customers, for their customers.
6 Valley municipalities have 1 million acre-feet of water stored underground that will be transported through the pipeline. Heidi Hommel, KTAR News.
You can read and watch more water news at KTAR.com. Arizona Cardinals jersey number 11 will not be worn again by another player. Today, the team announced it will retire the number worn by Hall of Fame wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald. During his Hall of Fame speech this weekend, he had this message to Cards fans.
You guys supported us on and off the field over the years. You showed up at home games. You showed up at away games through wins and losses. It's been 22 years and counting, Arizona, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to replenish the well of goodwill I've been lucky enough to drink from.
On October 25th, Fitzgerald will be placed in the team's Ring of Honor during halftime against their game against the Denver Broncos. And now for a check on traffic from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center. Here's John Roller.
All right, thank you very much, Colton. Right now, we've got a new crash coming in at Baseline right near 24th Street. Heads up for a collision there. Still have that crash in the Northwest Valley in Glendale, 63rd Avenue, just south of Cactus. And again, avoid 51st Avenue and Orangewood, north of Glendale, for some down power lines. John Roller, KTAR News.
It's going to be a wet week in the Valley today. 40% chance of rain with a high of 108. Tonight, a low of 90. And tomorrow, another 30% chance of rain with a high of 104. Weather brought to you by 72 Sold. Forget the traditional way. Sell your home in 3 days and pocket thousands more at 72sold.com. I'm Colton Krolak on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
LaDonna here. It's Tech Tuesday, and we will talk to Mashable tech editor Tim Worth. A state that contains less than 1% of the U.S. population is really going after Facebook. And I do mean its money. Find out more tomorrow morning from 5 to 8 on Arizona's Morning News. And be sure to catch us on the KTAR YouTube channel.
There's no secret if you listen to the show. I've talked in the past. I'm not a big fan of HOAs. There's a lot of things that I think in theory sound really good. Labor unions are one of them, and some labor unions do a very effective job. I would say the police and fire, public safety unions have struck a balance, and I don't know about the rest of the country, but I can tell you here, when it comes to the Phoenix PD and what the plea is their union, when it comes to the firefighters union here in the greater Phoenix area, in the valley as we call it, I've watched what they've done, that when in the past, when the Great Recession hit everybody across the country as hard as it did, Arizona maybe harder than anywhere else as a state and locally, the city of Phoenix was in big financial trouble. And this is when I gained the ultimate respect for the police and fire unions. And I'll tell you why I'm setting something up here. They went to the table with the city of Phoenix. And they sat down with the mayor, at the time it was Phil Gordon, and with city council, and they negotiated. And they wanted to make sure that none of the current Phoenix firefighters or Phoenix police officers were in danger of losing their jobs, being laid off. So they came to an agreement where they gave back real compensation, real money. They conceded a lot of money so that the city could balance its budget with the assurance that their current members wouldn't lose their jobs. There's the balance. They were protecting their members, and they were doing what was needed for the city. Now, I would also say later on, they kind of were on the losing end of getting this compensation back, but that's a whole different argument. In my opinion that's the way a labor union is supposed to run, when you're looking out for your members, but also the betterment of the company or the association or whatever. I think labor unions do a good job. Labor training for the trade unions is excellent, but I'm not necessarily a fan of them. In theory, they're a great idea, but in practice, not always. Same with an HOA. Homeowners associations, in theory, are a good idea. We're all going to agree to live by a certain set of rules so that we live in a beautiful place and it stays beautiful. But what it turns into is a nightmare. I've had my own nightmare scenarios with them, and you can send me all the messages you want about how great the HOA you live in or that you manage is good. But it doesn't. We just had a national story recently that more and more homes are being foreclosed on because HOAs aren't getting their dues, their HOA fees, and so they have the ability in the contract, when you buy a house in that neighborhood, you got to sign into those bylaws that you are going to pay those fines or pay those dues, or you're going to get foreclosed on. In Arizona, a new Arizona law prevents HOAs from foreclosing on homeowners until they owe at least $10,000 in missed assessments. Because there have been cases where HOAs are suing and foreclosing for $1,200. Homeowners now have 18 months to catch up on late HOA payments, an increase from previous one-year time frame. Despite the foreclosure limitation, HOAs can still pursue other collection methods like wage garnishment for unpaid assets. So this law ups it to $10,000 and gives you 18 months to pay it back. No one should lose their home because they painted their front door the wrong color of taupe and they got a fine. And if you think that that's an exaggeration, I can tell you from personal experience, it isn't. That when you get, and not all of them, there are some people that just want to we want to know that you are going to do the right thing, that we're not going to get out of control. You're not going to park a disabled vehicle in front of your house. But, in the city of Phoenix where I live, there's no HOA. But in the city of Phoenix where I live, they do have neighborhood services. And if you let your lawn get out of control, you're going to get a notification from the city that if you don't fix your yard, we're going to have somebody cut it and you're going to get billed for it. If you have a broken down vehicle, the PD will come and knock on your door and say that vehicle's got to be moved off the street. We can't have that trash in our neighborhoods. But all of this stuff, and I'm sure it happens in some cases where I don't want somebody painting their house purple in my neighborhood because it makes my property value go down. All of those things, what it turns into, and it's happened to me, is you have people that are enforcers. And who wants to have to go to an HOA meeting to defend the fact that you parked in the wrong spot or you put and there are two things that happened to me in an HOA, same house, in a rental house I had. We put up one of those Rubbermaid sheds in our backyard, put them together pretty easily, just a small shed. The roof of the shed was evergreen color. It was a green color. Not John Deere green, not fluorescent green, but it was green. We were told we had to take the shed down because you weren't allowed to have that color over the top of the fence line. So I had to take the shed down. We had to get rid of it. Secondly, I backed into my driveway, and I'm not exaggerating. By less than 1 inch, the tires on my vehicle were hanging over the edge of the driveway into the rocks next to my driveway. I got a ticket from my HOA for parking in the rocks. Those two things actually happened to me. And so this was a guy in a golf cart that was probably wanted to be a cop at one time in his life that decided that he was going to be the enforcer in the neighborhood. Now, I had to address that issue. Who needs that problem? But that was nothing compared to families that find themselves in a financial bind. And so what they don't pay is an HOA fee, or they don't pay a fine that they get because right now they're trying to put food on the table or whatever. And for a very small amount of money in a very short period of time, well, now it's been 1 year, they're getting foreclosed on. That they are going to court. These HOAs are using them, setting an example, and taking them to court. So as much as I hate that the legislature gets involved in a lot of different areas that they don't necessarily need to get into, this is one of them that I think is such a great thing that they got involved in. If you're an HOA board member, you can send me all the emails you want about the greatness of yours and how great it is and people love it, and you may be 100% correct. But I have heard so many nightmare stories from people with HOAs that they become power-hungry people, bureaucratic institutions that now I'm glad the legislature wouldn't have addressed this if it wasn't a problem. Are you kidding me? The state legislature? They're not going to get involved with a problem that doesn't exist. All right, I want to remind you the Amazing Arizonans podcast brought to you by Resolution Copper is available. We have got 3 years worth of stories, a little over 3 years, with a brand new season starting very, very soon. Please check out the Amazing Arizonans podcast. It is something we're very proud of. It's great stories from right here in the Grand Canyon State. Available at KTAR, the YouTube channel, or KTAR News app, or anywhere you download podcast. Hope you'll check it out. Coming up in a moment, it's the culture wars in America and how public health and culture have been clashing. We'll get to that here in just one moment. Let me talk to you about Window World. If you want a great company, I was a contractor, so I know quality material, and I know quality installation when I see it. And this is the highest quality. As a matter of fact, they have a lifetime warranty on their products, and a warranty is only as good as the company that backs it up. These guys have been in business for well over 20 years. This family-owned business stands behind their product, and they stand behind their workmanship, and they will do that for a lifetime. If you have your AC cycling, if your bills are out of control, it's probably your windows, your entry doors, your patio doors that are the culprit for this. You can drive down your energy costs. You can also drive up your comfort with the sound diminishing. You don't have to listen to your neighbor's dog bark. There's also not soundproofing, but diminishing the noise into your home. Great product. The Solar Zone windows block out the sun. You are going to love this product. WindowWorldPhoenix.com. That's WindowWorldPhoenix.com. Window World, simply the best for definitely less.
Start smart with Arizona's Morning News.
Did Andy Biggs make the right call for Lieutenant Governor? We're going to talk to a Republican political strategist. I can't even say it anymore. I'm a professional, everybody. Don't try this at home.
Arizona's Morning News, weekday mornings 5 to 8 on Arizona's news station, KTAR News 92.3 and the KTAR News app.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Sonic Drive-In is a proud partner of the Give-a-thon for Phoenix Children's. Become a champion of hope for our local children and families in need. Dine at any of the Arizona Sonic locations from now through August 31st, and Sonic will donate $1 from every Wacky Pack Kids meal sold to Phoenix Children's. That's $1 for every Wacky Pack meal sold. Feed your kids and help the kids at Phoenix Children's. With your support, we can continue to improve specialized children's care in Arizona. Live free, eat Sonic.
Oh, hey, Sarah. Here to pick up your little camper, too?
Yeah.
Did you hear my daughter Katie got Camper of the Week?
Wow, that's a big deal.
We got a big deal, too. Right, Mom?
Honey, shh. That was our little secret.
What's that?
Okay, see that brand new Hyundai Santa Fe?
Yeah.
It feels like I got away with something. I only paid...
Whoa, nice.
Yeah.
Deal so right, it almost feels wrong. Get the Hyundai you've always wanted, plus America's best warranty at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Come on, Katie. We're taking the scenic route to the dealership.
It's a great day for a new Hyundai at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Going on now. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days, or 1.9% APR for 72 months on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Plug-in Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Offers end September 8th. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
3 o'clock hits and you're dragging. No energy, no drive. Can't remember the last time you made it to the gym? It could be low T, and it happens to most men as we get older. Vital for Men specializes in getting you back. A personalized plan, a team that actually listens. You're not just a number. Schedule your free testosterone test today. Know your numbers. Real men, real results. Visit a Vital for Men location near you and take your life back.
KTAR News Flash.
At 10:47, I'm Colton Krolak, and this is what you need to know right now. Last night's monsoon storms brought heavy rain, dust, and wind, especially in the West Valley. Some areas got gusts over 80 miles an hour, which toppled dozens of power lines and left more than 40,000 without power. This morning, several thousand people were still without electricity. The intersection at Stapley Drive and 7th Avenue is reopened after a Sunday night crash between two vehicles. Around 8:15 last night, Mesa police say they responded to a crash involving a pickup truck and an SUV. The crash was fatal, killing 44-year-old Idalinda Apolinar and 74-year-old Gloria Matias. 2 other adults were involved in the collision and sustained serious injuries that are not life-threatening. Arizona Cardinals legend Larry Fitzgerald is having a busy week. On Saturday, he was officially inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and today, the Arizona Cardinals announced they're retiring his jersey, meaning no one in the franchise will ever wear his number 11 jersey again. The team will hold a ceremony at halftime during their Week 7 matchup against the Denver Broncos at State Farm Stadium, where they'll also induct Fitzgerald into the franchise Ring of Honor. All of our top stories are just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app.
Forget packing suitcases and fighting airport lines. Your family's favorite vacation is your own backyard. Dolphin Pools has been building Arizona's best backyard getaways for over 43 years. With the highest Google and Yelp ratings in the Valley. This summer, cool off at home and make memories that actually last. Go to dolphinpools.us and start planning today. That's dolphinpools.us. Dolphin Pools. No passport needed.
5 years ago, I started as an apprentice, and now I'm a licensed electrician at the Resolution Mine. Every morning that I go down in the mine is still a thrill. The work is challenging, it pays well, and I like being part of the clean energy economy. EVs, solar panels, every new technology needs copper, and we can provide it right here.
Copper is essential to Arizona's economy and to America's future. Learn more at resolutioncopper.com.
Pick up the exclusive Serpientes Haboob Globe on Saturday, August 22nd, before the D-backs Reds matchup, courtesy of Estrella Jalisco. Get your tickets at dbacks.com.
Broomhead. KTAR News 92.3 and the KTAR News app.
All right, the culture war in America. This is such a fun topic for me. Just to be totally candid, I've never watched a WNBA game, never watched a game, but I have become a Sophie Cunningham fan. And she got brutally hammered in a game, a penalty that should have been a crime. And there's some former ESPN announcers that are saying she should have been the one thrown out of the game. The reason why all this is happening is because she's defending girls in girl sports, saying biological males. So this has turned into either this is going to be the most brilliant marketing strategy for the WNBA ever by the way they're handling it, or it's going to burn the league to the ground. Because now 2 former NBA players are now identifying as females and saying they want to play in the NBA. I can't wait to see how this turns out. But it's more serious than this fight. The director for the National Institute for Health was on CBS this weekend with Margaret Brennan on Sunday. And they had a clash over the distrust in America for health experts and for the government. So I want you to hear this little bit of this back and forth between these two.
RFK Jr. called the COVID vaccine the deadliest vacceen ever made. That is misinformation, and we're not being clear about that. And I think that is dangerous.
People lost
Wouldn't
their
you
jobs,
agree?
Margaret, because the Biden administration censored people and said, look, you can't even talk about COVID vaccine harms. Yeah, and I'm talking about why you have the kind of distrust that's led to the kind of problems that we're talking about earlier in public health. That distrust was not caused by President Trump. It wasn't caused by Bobby. It was caused by a lot of really fundamentally, but often spread by the government itself regarding natural immunity, closure of schools, closures of mask mandates. People lost their jobs because of these vaccine mandates that didn't make any public health sense.
100% correct. Once again, remember, there were members of the military that lost their careers. They were thrown out of the United States military because they didn't want to get the vaccine. Let me go further with this. You may not remember this. I was reminded of this, and I want you to hear it. This is how people that said, I don't want to get the vaccine, I don't think it's safe, I don't want to put it into my body. I don't think that it's going to make the difference that the government says it's going to make. I don't think it's going to stop the virus, and the risk doesn't outweigh or does outweigh the reward for me, so I don't want to do it. This is Jimmy Kimmel.
Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
Well, that was America. 2020, 2021, that's what we were. Now, I will give Jimmy Kimmel a lot more grace than he's ever given anybody that's disagreed with him. He was buying every word that Dr. Fauci and everybody else that was involved with the COVID vaccine, he was buying every word they were saying. When the president of the United States comes out and says, if you get the vaccine, you can't spread the virus, people believe if you get the vaccine, you can't spread the virus. We lost huge parts of our economy. I have friends that at the same time, they owned a gym and a hair salon. Take a guess what happened to their livelihood. When this first happened, just to give you an idea, you may remember this, Mountainside Fitness, Tom Hatton, Mountainside Fitness. Tom and I have become very close friends. He's a guy I admire so much. When COVID first happened, they closed because they were told to close. Not only did he keep his employees on and pay them, he opened his gyms up to be testing centers. He then cooperated and came up with the groups of people that came up with the idea of how do we reopen safely based on this national data. And then after they were reopened, they were shut down a second time with no warning and no consideration. So the national conversation about this was a flawed conversation. And this is the culture war that's going on in America. So you've got CBS News defending itself when, why don't they admit they were wrong? Why don't they admit that they should have been more skeptical? If they had been as skeptical of Dr. Fauci as they are of RFK Jr., maybe things would have been a little bit different. I've never wavered from the fact that they were doing the best they could with the information they had, but we were told things to be facts that were opinions. And America deserved to know that they were opinions. And Dr. Fauci's journal shows as much. Dr. Fauci didn't want people to not get the vaccine, so he didn't give them all the information so they could make what would be an educated choice. It was an indoctrinated choice. And the United States media largely went along with it. Every single network, most of the cable news networks, and anybody that dared disagreed and said, I don't want to get that vaccine, was demonized. Jimmy Kimmel said you should die. You shouldn't be served if you had a heart attack. Has he ever apologized? Has he ever admitted? And that's all America wants. You want to talk about misinformation? Okay, it goes both ways. And we don't see it both ways. And I'm not giving up on this, and neither should anybody else. Neither should anyone else. What we're going to do just after 11 o'clock, we're going to go back to the economy, as now once again the Iranians have moved the field goals, the goalposts, and they now are making a list of demands that they absolutely know are never going to be abided by. If they are not ready for peace, are they ready for war? That's been a question. And what do we do next to end this as quickly as we can? So what should happen? We'll talk about it next.
Most homeowners don't think much about their roof. And honestly, that's because it quietly does its job every single day. But here in Arizona, your roof takes a beating. From extreme heat, monsoon rain, high winds, and hail, it protects your home, your belongings, your memories, and the people living underneath it. The problem is, a roof can keep doing its job for years without showing obvious signs that something is wrong. You shouldn't have to wait until water is coming through the ceiling to discover a problem. That's where Trevec Remodeling and Roofing comes in. We recommend having your roof inspected at least once a year, so you know whether it's ready for the next Arizona storm. We'd rather help you catch a small issue now than discover a major one during the next monsoon. Visit Trevec.com. That's TRAVEK.com. Trevec Remodeling and Roofing. Together, building dreams for 25 years.
KTAR-FM, Glendale, Phoenix.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Tune into The Truth About Money with Bruce Weinstein and Tim Travis.
We hand select each and every security in the portfolio as opposed to kind of the more cookie cutter approaches that a lot of the larger firms will take.
Understand challenges facing today's retirees.
They tell us what their wishes and their goals are. We create the plan.
Tune into The Truth About Money, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on KTAR News.
Let's be honest, summers can be unbearable in Arizona, but there's an answer. And now Presidential Pools is doing their best to make your dream pool a possibility in your own backyard with a limited time full financing offer. 0 closing costs, plus $500 cash back. And this offer is good through August 31st. Celebrating 35 years of building Arizona's dream backyards. Go to presidentialpools.com today.
KTAR News now.
It's 11 o'clock. Good Monday morning. I'm John Roller.
Well, multiple heavy monsoon storms ripped through the valley last night, bringing heavy wind, rain, and dust. Some areas, including Buckeye, saw gusts over 80 miles an hour, which toppled power poles and damaged electrical equipment, causing more than $40,000 of damage and people to lose power. Gabriel Lajero with the National Weather Service says it was the strongest storm of the year and the first of its kind for the West Valley this season.
This is the first real action that the West Valley has seen so far this monsoon. Unfortunately, it came with damage because, it was these thunderstorms were very powerful.
Yeah, and Lajero says we could see more storms tonight along with potential flash flooding later in the week.
Certainly, this slows down our investigative capacities.
With the city of Chandler announcing an end to its use of flock cameras, the city's police chief defended that technology.
The flock system includes license plate readers that give police real-time data on where vehicles are moving. On Friday, Chandler Police Chief Brian Chapman said one of his employees potentially misused the system. As uncovered in a standard audit, the city immediately ended access to the flock cameras. Chapman said this will impact ongoing police work.
Arresting criminals, furthering investigations, recovering stolen cars, and probably our most heart-wrenching ones is locating dementia and Alzheimer's patients who are driving around aimlessly.
The department is investigating the alleged misuse of the flock cameras by one of their employees and is not sharing details at this time. Chapman did say the privacy of residents was not compromised. Ballin Overstoles, KTAR News.
And the Arizona Center for Economic Progress has released a study saying nearly half of our state's SNAP participants have lost their food assistance since July of last year, which is around $600 million in benefits. Evan Taylor, Associate Professor of Economics at the U of A, joined Arizona's Morning News to say this will have more of an impact on individual people than it will on Arizona's economy.
It's not going to have a huge impact on, say, the labor market or the unemployment rate as a whole. Probably a very small impact. Sort of the bigger impact is going to be on, those families that, need that money.
Nearly 400,000 people have lost SNAP benefits in Arizona alone. Mountain lion hunting season kicks off August 21st, but a recent lawsuit aims to curb the practice amidst sharp drops in the population.
Earlier this month, the Center for Biological Diversity issued a lawsuit against Arizona's Game and Fish Department and Commission. In it, the center asked the court to suspend issuing mountain lion sport hunting permits, with hunters between 2018 and 2024 killing 1,937 Arizona lions, half of which were lions under 2 years old. Additionally, the center points to 41% female death rates among hunted lions, which they say is more than double what can lead to sharp population declines. Robin Silver, the Center for Biological Diversity's co-founder, calls the hunting practices barbaric, unsustainable, and illegal, adding Game and Fish should put science and public trust first. Brandon King, KTAR News.
And let's get a check on your drive around town right now, live from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center. Valley main line's not looking too bad, only light slowing on the eastbound I-10, starting right at about 51st Avenue through the 202 transition into downtown Phoenix. We do have a crash still working near 24th Street and Baseline, and a car fire, Peoria fire, responding over at 93rd Avenue and Northern. Traffic is brought to you by Aquazona Connecticut. Get the Connecticut K5 drinking water station for up to 20% off when you mention Gatos. Visit Aquazona.com. Aquazona, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Valley weather for today, well, we do have a chance of showers, about a 40% chance of rain tonight. Partly cloudy with a high of 108 degrees, and right now it is 98 degrees in Tempe. Weather is brought to you by 72 Sold. Forget the traditional way. Sell your home in 3 days and pocket thousands more at 72sold.com. I'm John Roller on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
The Mike Broomhead Show, KTAR News 92.3, and the KTAR News app.
All right, here we go. Final hour of the show. There's been some changes. This is something I've gone over and over and over and over and over. We've been watching, and you don't have to be a genius. You just have to pay attention. And I think most of us have. If you're my age, I'm in my late 50s. I'm hanging on, man. I don't want to turn this next page. But growing up in the era I did, the Iranians were a threat. I was a 9-year-old kid, basically, when the Iranians did what they did 47 years ago. I was watching as a child would and hearing how terrified we were that American hostages had been taken by this new regime. I didn't know what regime change was. I didn't know what a Shah of Iran was. I didn't know what Ayatollahs were. I just knew that hundreds of Americans had been taken hostage, and our president at the time was trying to negotiate a deal. Well, Inauguration Day in 1981, that all changed because Ronald Reagan, I believe, behind the scenes had let the Iranians know that there was going to be more pain for them than they were willing to endure. And so the American hostages were released. But that was the beginning of the end of the relationship between the Iranians and the Americans. And what used to be a civil relationship between the two nations was no longer. And what we have watched for the last 47 years has been them mete out violence against everybody that disagrees with them in the region and around the world, specifically the Israelis and specifically the United States and its interests. That's what's been going on. So this course of action against Iranians, I don't know that there's been a president since Jimmy Carter that hasn't had to deal with, and it hasn't been in the news because of a serious policy shift or something else that's happened by every American president dealing with the violence and threats of violence and economic violence from the Iranians. Not one. And every American president has come up with a plan, and it hasn't worked. Both parties hasn't worked. I don't want to say failed because we're making attempts at dealing with people that don't want to be dealt with. And I have talked about over and over and over again how they have thwarted every possibility at peace. So going in a different direction for just a moment, when it looked as if there was going to be peace between Hamas and Israel, that there was at least going to be a ceasefire. I don't know if there could have ever been peace the way it was, but there was going to be a ceasefire. And there was going to be a regional agreement. Other nations were going to recognize Israel and do business with Israel. As that deal got closer and closer, the Iranian minions and the Iranians themselves got involved, and the deal was broken, and any chance of a deal was pushed down the road. And we've seen it with the Houthis in the Red Sea. We've seen it with Hezbollah to the north, and that's been their tactic forever. And when this conflict began, the Iranians made promises they didn't keep. And anyone who says that the deal that President Obama made was working just is either ignorant or they're lying. It's one or the other. And we know that now. And I don't blame President Obama. You're dealing with a regime that is just liars. They are bent on violence. Their constitution and their goals are to destroy Israel at any cost. Lie, cheat, steal, whatever it takes. They are a violent regime. So we talked about the difference in how they do business and how every time there was a negotiation happening, whether it was between the Israelis and Hamas or whatever it was, that as soon as a deal started getting closer, a new set of demands came out. Well, here it's happened again. We've been talking about negotiations. The president he thinks they're close to a deal. Once again, we hear about a deal in principle. Even the Iranians said that we've made progress in opening the Strait of Hormuz. So less than a day ago, just a few hours ago, here's what happened. Here are the following conditions that have now been revised and the Iranians are now demanding. This is what has not been a part of anything they've been talking about. Now they've come out with these new demands. Never threaten Iran with any language or insult the sanctities of this nation. End the war and aggression against Iran and its allies in Lebanon, Palestine, Yemen, and Iraq forever. Lift the naval blockade and withdraw its military forces, naval and air, from around Iran. Pay the damages of the 2 wars of aggression and imposition of Iran without any reduction. It says any reduction or reduction. I don't know what that means, but I'm reading it verbatim. Lift the cruel and illegal sanctions against the Iranian nation. Unconditionally release the frozen, stolen assets of the Iranian people. That's their demands. That before they are agreeing to open up the Strait of Hormuz or stop fighting or whatever it is they're agreeing to, they want the U.S. to concede those things. President Trump has said in response, this is about an hour ago, I am likewise demanding compensation from Iran for all of the people they have killed and gravely wounded with their roadside bombs and many conflicts. He put this on Truth Social. He said the families of 17 U.S. sailors killed in 2000's bombing of the USS Cole in Yemen, as well as thousands of others killed in combat. He said Iran should pay the families of hundreds of thousands of innocent protesters that Iran has killed for over the last 50 years, not to mention 52,000 that have been killed in the last 5 months. The president has said to his representatives to put this firmly into any and all future negotiations. So what we've seen happen is what you would expect to happen in the last hour or so. We are watching oil prices continue to climb. They're up about 4.75% right now on Brent crude oil, and they're up about 4.8% on the day on West Texas Intermediate in the region for or in the futures for September. How's this end? We've been hearing, not just from the U.S., because I hear from people that call this administration the liars, which shows you the depth of hatred that you have for politics in America, that you would trust the Iranians over the Americans in any situation. I've never done that. I disagreed with Obama. I definitely disagreed with Biden. I disagreed with policies of Bill Clinton. I never, ever, ever took the side of our enemy, especially the Iranians, over anything those presidents had to say. That regime doesn't change. They are evil. They are just liars. So now, close to a deal, and then you have them come out and say, well, no, now we want this. You wouldn't do this in any negotiation ever. Negotiating any kind of a contract for compensation, contract for a purchase. If you were negotiating with somebody and it was a tough negotiation and you were getting closer and closer and we've got to do this and I'm willing to concede that, but I think you're wrong, but I want that. That's something that's not negotiable for me. And you're down to the final points of a deal. And when you get closer to the final points of a deal, what happens? They come back and say, well, hang on. Now we want this. Now we want this. So, again, never threaten Iran with any language or insult, end the war of aggression and against not just them, but the allies, Lebanon, Palestine, which, again, is Hamas, Lebanon, which is Hezbollah, Yemen, which is the Houthis, and Hezbollah in Iraq, which took a hit from us not too long ago. They want us to agree to never do that again. End the naval blockade and pull all of our troops out of the region. They want us to pay damages. They want us to lift sanctions. They want us to release their frozen assets. I don't know where they believe they have a leg to stand on to demand those things. So our president says, okay, if that's what you want, here's what we want. These are our firm negotiations. This is it. And if you're going to say no, we're going to go back to military operations. And it looks like, as everybody predicted, there was at least going to be one more round of military operations because the Iranians don't get it. Every other regime in the United States in the past, every other administration has dealt with them economically with sanctions, and they weakened first. They were the first ones to say, we're willing to try this without any more guarantees first of watching your behavior change. This administration is saying that's not going to happen. So what happens next? How quickly before the U.S. says we're going to return to severe military strikes and we're going to show them what pain looks like? Now, I don't want that. I want a peaceful ending. But they are, once again, moving the goalpost because that's their MO. They've been doing this for decades. And their associates, their minions, their proxies, whatever you want to call them. This is their playbook. And we're seeing it again. All right, coming up in a moment, we are going to get you caught up on the biggest news stories of the day with a segment we call Did You Hear This? We'll get to it here in just a moment. You know, the fact that many people spend more time planning a vacation than they do their financial future kind of boggles my mind. But it's a daunting task, and a lot of people are afraid of it. They don't know who to call. They don't know what to ask. I can tell you Trajan Wealth helped me. They helped clarify a lot for me. A comprehensive approach to your financial future. It is a financial plan. It's a custom financial plan with their experts looking at your current situation and when you want to retire and what you need to retire. It's also tax planning to make sure that tax bill doesn't overwhelm you when it's time for it. And it's estate planning to make sure if God forbid something that happens to you, you're protected. This comprehensive approach, make the call like I did. 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1 or TrajanWealth.com. TRAJAN Wealth.com. Advisory services through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. I am a client. This is a paid advertisement and additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Outspoken with Bruce and Gatos.
Larry Fitzgerald will be inducted officially into the National Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio.
This is an achievement for Larry Fitzgerald. He is deserving. I think he's the greatest athlete in Arizona history. Going to the Cardinals games and watching Larry Fitzgerald play, listening to the crowd scream his name, Larry, over and over and over again, it's something that you'll never forget.
Outspoken, weekday afternoons 2 till 6. Watch Outspoken on the KTAR YouTube channel and listen on 92.3, KTAR.com, and the KTAR News app.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Hey, it's Flo here to say drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Nice. With my new savings, I'll get some hiking gear. It'll be great for my outdoor era.
I don't know if it counts as an era if you just buy stuff.
I got a cute hiking backpack. It's an outdoor era.
Well, you only bought one thing. I don't think it's an era.
Well, I think we're in a agree to disagree era.
Yeah, sure, you're probably right. Anyway, with the money you could save by switching to Progressive, you can afford to switch to other things in life. It's
my savings era.
Also, everything you do is not an era.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
KTAR News Flash.
Coming up on 11:17. Good morning. I'm John Roller. This is what you need to know right now. Another heat record here in the U.S. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says the contiguous United States set a record for its hottest month ever in the month of July. The most excessive heat in the Mountain West, Southwest, Northern Plains, and Southeast. Biggest driver of the heat was at night. And starting from the east and then really picking up in the West Valley, Sunday night storms delivered dust, rain, and plenty of wind. They were down power lines, and people are still reporting having no power in parts of the valley. And more honors for Larry Fitzgerald. The Arizona Cardinals announcing today that Fitzgerald's jersey number 11 will be officially retired. A ceremony will be held at halftime during the week, number 7, when the Cards host the Denver Broncos. All of our top stories just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app. And taking a look at Wall Street right now, we are red across the board. The S&P 500 is down 7. The NASDAQ is down 116 points to 26,574. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 154. For more money news, visit the Business Center at KTAR.com.
Your family's in the pool all summer. Do you know if the electrical system is safe? Most homeowners never think about it, but between summer heat and monsoon moisture, your pool's electric system takes a beating. Parker & Sons offers a pool circuit safety check for just $89. It's a full inspection of everything powering your pool. This is the one service every pool owner needs before the first cannonball of the season. Call or text 602-2REPAIR, and Parker & Sons will make sure your pool is summer ready.
I lost my mom this year. This is Becky Lynn. There came a time when she and I agreed it was time for help, and that help was going to include hospice. But I knew virtually nothing about hospice. Did you know there are hundreds of hospice providers in the Valley? The first one I tried just didn't seem to be the right fit. And then a friend suggested Uplift Hospice. Right away, it was a different experience. The very day we joined Uplift, Mom fell. I had to call the on-call nurse that night. She was there in a flash. As the days progressed, I always had someone who I could call with questions, who got to know Mom, took care of meds, provided ongoing care right in her group home. Uplift will provide hospice services wherever your loved one is, even at home. Live all the days of your life is their philosophy, and if you're wondering if hospice is the right next step for a loved one with a serious illness, just reach out to Uplift and they'll help you understand everything. 350-7554 is the number. Online, they're at uplifthospice.com.
Don't miss the Greater Phoenix Chamber's Workforce Summit on August 26th, where leaders tackle the future of talent in Arizona. Register now at phoenixchamber.com and learn how a chamber membership can help your business thrive. That's phoenixchamber.com.
The Windy City comes to the Arizona desert as the D-backs host the Chicago Cubs at Chase Field starting August 24th. Get your tickets for the matchup at dbacks.com.
Strong values, strong opinions. The Mike Broomhead Show. KTAR News 92.3 and the KTAR News app.
All right, time to catch up on today's biggest headlines. Did you hear this?
Did you hear this? Broomhead reacts to today's hottest news stories.
The city of Tempe has created protections for customers at around 60 bars. KTAR's Balin Overstoles reports.
Prevention program is now in effect, requiring bars and restaurants under the program to offer or sell drink spiking detection kits to customers. Tempe Councilman Randy Keating says they worked with local businesses to come up with the plan that he argues will benefit both bars and patrons.
The vast majority of young people are much more likely to visit an establishment that has these basic protections in place. I think this will be a boon to Tempe bars and Tempe nightlife, and I'm really excited to see it rolled out in its entirety.
Do you think this will result in more business for these bars?
Yeah, what I think is going to happen is it sends two messages. One, it sends to the bar patrons that we have a way for you to verify that you can be safe, but it also sends a message to the would-be idiots that would spike somebody's drink that there's ways we're going to stop you, and if we catch you, you're going to jail. So I think it diminishes the number of times it happens in Tempe. And let's face it, the reason why they're doing this is because Tempe is a college town. And unfortunately, this nonsense happens against usually innocent college girls. So yeah, I think this is going to help in both capacities. One is letting patrons know you have a solution, or at least you have a remedy. And it says to the would-be people that would do this, don't do this here because you're probably going to get caught. So I like it.
And as kids are headed back to school, police are warning parents about a back-to-school tradition. Sophia Hodsworth with KNOE explains.
It's the annual ritual filling your feed. Proud parents, smiling kids, and cute chalkboards, but police say that cute sign is actually a gold mine for predators.
Your kids' privacy is their safety.
Sterlington police warn that posting these details publicly is more than just a milestone. It provides a roadmap straight to your child.
But once you put something on social media, it's on there.
Mike, you talk about the dangers of kids being online. What do you think about this trend?
See, I don't know the ins and outs of this. Is how this leads directly to your child. Is it because of it tells you how old they are? Maybe you know what their birth date is. I don't know. I'm torn because I like when parents are sharing things about their kids. I think it's awesome. You know, our own Patricia is out today. Her kids are just starting school. I love seeing I like to see the kids smile when the moms cry. I just think that's kind of a tradition. So I'm kind of torn here. If there genuinely is a threat, then you're right. You should be. But where does it cross the line from being dangerous or you should just being a little bit cautious? And I just don't know where that line is. I like seeing the pictures. I think most people do, but I would hate it if somebody took advantage of it. You're listening to Did You Hear This? Every day at this time, we do it to catch you up on headlines.
For the first time, scientists have used AI to create viruses that don't exist in nature. ABC's Wayne Cabot reports.
The AI-created virus was able to infect bacterial cells in a lab, but didn't use viruses that harm humans. Researchers trained the AI to predict DNA sequences, kind of like how ChatGPT predicts the next word in a sentence. On the plus side, it could solve genetic disorders and antibiotic-resistant infections. The downside? That a rogue researcher might create a bioweapon.
So do you think it's a good idea that we're using AI to make these? I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Wuhan, that's the worst that could happen. I mean, what the heck? Yeah, this is terrifying because all of these movies we've ever watched where we see this rogue thing happen with the virus, and it was one of the Bourne movies where they had people programmed when they were told, and they were taking pills to make sure that it is scary. It's scary to me. Can you get legislation that protects against this? After what we saw with the virus, the coronavirus, man, do we really want to be messing with science like this? At the same time, the value is if you could cure a lot of different things, but how do you stop horrible people from doing horrible things? That's always the fear.
And multiple heavy monsoon storms ripped through the valley last night, bringing heavy wind, rain, and dust. Gabriel O'Hara with the National Weather Service says it was the strongest storm of the year.
This was powerful. We were measuring winds from Doppler radar between 60 and 80 miles per hour. So it's the most powerful activity we've seen so far this monsoon.
The storm damaged electrical equipment and caused more than 40,000 people to lose power. Were you impacted by this storm at all?
You know, it's so weird because the last couple of storms we had felt like they went straight over my house. I lost power both times. I spent hours in my truck sleeping in the air conditioning with my machine I have to wear to sleep with. But I got nothing from this storm, not even heavy winds, because I woke up, there wasn't water spots on my truck, there wasn't a lot of dust on my vehicle, so somehow I avoided it in my part of town. That one went around me, and thank God, some of that damage was crazy.
Yeah.
Great job, Elizabeth. Great
Thank
job,
you.
both of you guys, over the last couple of days with this Friday and Monday. Patricia will be back tomorrow. Once hopefully she gets past and over her sadness and depression that her little babies are growing up. But she'll be back tomorrow. Great job, though.
Thank you.
All right, what we're going to do in a moment is we're going to talk a little bit about the economy from a different perspective. We've done this a couple of times today. We're going to talk about how much you trust the government, because I am going to tell you, if you live in New York, there is a challenge to your trust that is going to test your true trust, no matter what political party you're from. And I'm anxious to see how people respond. We'll talk about it next.
Listen during Give-a-thon week for Phoenix Children's Stories of Hope, presented by Mattamy Homes.
You're not qualified to fix any of it, but you know that your way that you love that child is going to get you there. You can't just stop because it gets hard. It can't stop. You don't stop. You just go.
The Give-a-thon for Phoenix Children's is presented by Your Valley Hyundai Dealers and Y Refi.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Rivera, Senior Marketing Manager with Mattamy Homes. We're proud to be the Stories of Hope sponsor of the Phoenix Children's Hospital Give-a-thon. In my own family, my son was diagnosed with leukemia. He's now doing great, all thanks to the wonderful medical care of PCH. Call 602-933-4567. You can also text GIVE to 620-620. The children at PCH need our help now more than ever.
Thinking about senior living? I'm Jamie West, and here's the best advice you'll get. Talk to people who already live there. Beatitudes campus in North Central Phoenix has a resident panel coming up soon. You can talk to residents, ask questions, hear real experiences, and enjoy a complimentary brunch. Find out why Beatitudes campus is a senior community like no other. Reserve your seat by texting RSVP to 620-620 or go to beatitudescampus.org. Live brightly, age boldly at Beatitudes Campus.
Message and data rates may apply.
Progressive knows you've got plenty of things to worry about.
What time does the kids' practice end? How long has that check engine light been on? Are takeout containers microwave safe?
So the last thing you should have to worry about is what to do if something unexpected happens on the road. That's why if you're ever in a major accident, Progressive's accident response can detect it and send help. It's just one less thing to worry about.
How long does chicken last in the fridge?
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
Sleep Number's new collections are designed to adapt to the changing nature of your life and your sleep needs. Whether it's the personalized comfort of the Comfort Mode mattress, the targeted pressure relief of the Comfort Next mattress, or the Climate Collection that actively cools or warms to help you fall asleep and stay asleep.
And now, get early access to our biggest sale of the year. Save 25% on the new Comfort Next Luxe for a limited time. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Hall, Senior Partner at Morris Hall. My mom Wanda was a fantastic cook, and she taught me that every great recipe needs the right ingredients. Leave one out, it's just not the same. In honor of her legacy, her kids and grandkids started a cooking club called Wanda's Pantry. Each time we use her recipes, we're reminded that the things that we leave behind can continue to bring people together. Estate planning is the same. A trust, a will, powers of attorney, and healthcare directives all play an important role in helping protect the people you love and give your family peace of mind. For over 55 years, Morris Hall has had the honor of helping over 40,000 Arizona families create plans that protect what matters most. In honor of Mom, I'd love to share one of our family's favorite chocolate chip cookie recipes. Text cookie to 620-620 and we'll send it your way. Then, when you're ready, schedule your complimentary consultation with Morris Hall, where you're likely to find a fresh baked cookie.
Morris Hall, Premier Estate Planning. Visit us at morrishall.com.
LaDonna Harvey here, and if you're a home seller, you can expect to go through a lot or not. Orchard is where you go. A lot of home sellers will get one offer, and it's just not enough. Orchard changes that. With Orchard offers, you don't get one offer. You get several cash offers from serious buyers, and they are competing for your home against each other. And that is really good for you. Here's how it works. An Orchard agent will submit your home to their exclusive network of cash buyers. They compete to buy your home. You choose the winner. No repairs, no showings, no settling. Get started with a free home valuation and learn more at Orchard.com. Just go to Orchard.com and see everything Orchard has to offer you. They really did reinvent the real estate industry, and that's to your advantage.
KTAR News now.
At 11:31, good Monday morning. I'm John Roller. Here's what we're following this hour. Last night brought some scary weather around the valley with strong monsoon storms causing plenty of damage.
Thousands of people across Arizona are waking up without power this morning thanks to those monsoon storms that rolled through State 48 last night. Some parts of the West Valley saw wind gusts over 80 miles per hour. Litchfield Park and Buckeye each picked up more than an inch of rain. At the peak last night, more than 40,000 customers lost power between SRP and APS. So if you're heading out this morning, keep an eye out for down power poles. Steer clear of them and never touch a stray wire. If you spot one, go ahead and report it to your local utility.
That's meteorologist Jorge Torres with our TV partners at ABC 15.
I would hope to see other cities in the valley follow suit.
The city of Tempe has created protections for customers around 60 bars.
The city's drink spiking prevention program is now in effect, requiring bars and restaurants under the program to offer or sell drink spiking detection kits to customers. Tempe Councilman Randy Keating says they worked with local businesses to come up with the plan that he argues will benefit both bars and patrons.
The vast majority of young people are much more likely to visit an establishment that has these basic protections in place. I think this will be a boon to Tempe bars and Tempe nightlife, and I'm really excited to see it rolled out in its entirety.
Bars in the program are also required to post signage near restrooms letting customers know the drink spike detection kits are available. Tempe is the first city in the state to adopt an ordinance to prevent drink spiking. Ballin Overstoles, KTAR News.
Well, if you ever want to see number 11 at State Farm Stadium again, you'll have to look up to the rafters.
Arizona Cardinals jersey number 11 won't be worn again by another player. Today, the team announced it is retiring the number worn by Hall of Fame wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald. During his Hall of Fame speech this weekend, he had this message to Cards fans.
You guys supported us on and off the field over the years. You showed up at home games. You showed up at away games through wins and losses. It's been 22 years and counting, Arizona, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to replenish the well of goodwill I've been lucky enough to drink from.
On October 25th, Fitzgerald will also be placed in the team's Ring of Honor at halftime during their game against the Denver Broncos. Colton Krolak, KTAR News.
And let's get a check on your drive around town. Right now, live from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center, we do have a new crash coming in over on the east side. This is the westbound side of I-10 right near 40th Street. Watch for that crash clearing. Also a crash in Glendale at 51st Avenue and Bethany Home Road. And another collision in the clearing stages at 24th Street and Baseline Road. Valley weather for this afternoon. We do have a 40% chance of rain, partly cloudy, and our expected high this afternoon, 108 degrees. Tonight, cloudy. Again, we do have a chance of showers and an overnight low of 90 degrees. And already, we've bumped it up to 100 degrees at Sky Harbor. Weather's brought to you by 72 Sold. Forget the traditional way. Sell your home in 3 days and pocket thousands more at 72sold.com. John Roller, KTAR News.
Happy Monday. Meghan McCain will join us live from Washington, D.C. as the battle over the Strait of Hormuz heats up. And how will these economic headwinds impact the midterms? Join us for Mondays with Meghan at 3 on Outspoken with Bruce and Gatos on air, online, and on the KTAR YouTube channel.
All right, the mayor of New York, Mamdani, has a program that he is rolling out that will challenge every single one of you and how much you trust the government. Because if I ask you hypothetically as an overall, how much do you trust the government, you will get varying answers based on your political ideology and who's in leadership at the time. If you're a Democrat and I said, how much do you trust the federal government right now? It's probably going to be a very low number with Donald Trump in the White House and Republicans controlling both chambers of the United States Congress. But in general, you guys are much younger than I am. You guys are much less jaded than I am. You're not old enough to be bitter yet. Tell me how much trust on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being you trust them implicitly. 1 meaning I don't trust them at all. How much do you trust the government?
I'm going to give the government a good old 6.
A 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's an implied sense of trust. I don't think that they're out to get me or anything.
Okay.
But I think that they work in the government to work for the better interest of the United States.
And so
where I
you,
live.
overall, with exceptions, you think that's what the people are.
Mm-hmm.
There should be some oversight, but basically you trust them.
Yeah.
Elizabeth?
Okay, I would say 4.
4.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm closer to you. I think I'm about a 4 on this. This will challenge. I want both of you. I know neither one of you have children yet. Even Roller can jump in on this because I know he has kids. I want you to listen to the idea that is rolling out in New York City, and then now you tell me how much you trust the government with this.
Zohar Mamdani is starting a new pilot program here in New York City. He is saying, bring your children to the park and we will watch them for free. In the 5 boroughs, they said around 500 children can come to these different locations and the parents can go and have a date night. He's even saying, we will feed your children while they're at the park. Here in New York City, hiring a babysitter can cost anywhere from $30 to $50 an hour. So he wants parents to have the opportunity to go and spend 4 hours without their children. And the government officials at the park are going to watch their children. We're not sure exactly who the babysitters will be, but they're going to be funded by Mamdani. Many people are saying there is no way on earth they would bring their children to a random park in the city and let random people watch them. Even people are saying, well, this is a great way to indoctrinate children. Others are saying Zohar Mamdani is trying to do something nice for the parents here in New York City. Would you ever drop your children off at a park and have random people watch them, especially in New York City?
I think it's fully appropriate that there were sirens going off in the background. Sorry.
Yeah, it sounds like chaos.
Well, listen, if you've ever had little kids and you're married and you go out on a date, you don't even trust the babysitter at the house. I mean, you know, the wife is always going, I wonder how the kids are doing. I wonder how the kids are doing. Let's get back home. Let's, eat your dessert. Let's get back home. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work.
See, when I was a kid, my parents had a solution because I was in the line of grandchildren. I had a few cousins that were older than me, 7 to 10 years older than me. So my cousin Patty and my cousin Karen alternating would babysit us, the 3 of us. And trust me, they left there in worse shape than we were by the time the 3 maniacs were done with them. Oh, we triple teamed them. But that my family had a family solution.
Right.
Now, you guys don't have kids. When you hear that, what do you think?
I think something's going to happen. One kid is going to be overlooked somewhere, and you're going to have an upset parent.
So here are my questions, and I think they're legitimate questions. What's it going to cost to background check all of these people? Because you got to background check all of them. You say you're going to feed these kids. How do you handle the kids with food allergies? You know how much money this is going to cost? I mean, now let's say that they're right, that a babysitter in New York costs about $30 to $50 an hour. That's not a bad gig to get $30 to $50 an hour. So let's say you end up as a couple paying the high end of that, $200 for a night out. Okay?
And you haven't even gone out on the date yet.
Correct. But what is it costing the taxpayers of New York to background check, train these people, buy the food, clean up, and make people believe it's a safe proposition to drop your child off in a park. What do you think that's going to cost?
Yeah, and then you'd have to buy insurance, right? The liability if something happens to your child in that park, could you then turn around and sue the city of New York?
Sure. Of course you could. Or they're going to make you sign a waiver saying we're not responsible for anything that happens to your kid. And who's going to sign that?
Yeah, I just think, being that my kids are grown and gone, but I can remember we very rarely ever got a chance to go out. And even with the babysitter that we knew that watched my kids through the week, if my wife had to work or whatever, we still worried about them.
Of course.
And we knew the babysitter.
And it was your house.
Right.
Imagine if your babysitter said, meet me at the park. Pick your kid up at the park in 4 hours.
I don't think it's going to work.
But isn't this crazy that this is now the in that store you heard someone say a lot of the people said they're just trying to do something nice for parents. Given that full benefit of the doubt that that's exactly what they're trying to do, that it's not nefarious, how do you pull it off?
Yeah, I just think it brings on more worries than it's worth at this point.
They're going to have, I guarantee you what they're going to do, and as much as Mom Donnie is not a fan of the NYPD, he doesn't like cops, you're going to have off-duty cops there, aren't you?
You would think. Yeah, absolutely. Again, the liability would be, to me, just the liability
of course
be way up here.
One kid eats a peanut butter sandwich and he's got a nut allergy, or the numbers of things that could go wrong here.
Well, no, in New York City, what if they play, the Ponzi game, the three rings? You got a kid that's hustling the other kid.
Three-card Monty.
It's New York.
Yeah, three-card Monty.
Yeah, right.
But they set up to 500 kids across the boroughs. So let's say that's accurate. Let's say it's 100 kids in each borough. How do you manage 100 kids?
Yeah, it's tough to manage 10 kids at a daycare center.
So let me ask the two of you that don't have kids a different question. You just heard the number $30 to $50 an hour is what it normally costs people in New York to pay a babysitter. If the city said to you, we're going to pay you $30 an hour for 4 hours to come babysit these kids, are either of you interested?
I'd do it.
Would you?
Why not?
I wouldn't.
Okay, see,
Yeah.
there's, I almost said there's the difference between men and women, but that'll get me emails. I'm just saying that, but that is quite a bit of money. But I don't know. You got to be a patient person. I couldn't be that patient.
Me neither. Kids just squeeze all the patience out of me.
See? That's it. Especially someone else's kids.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what this would be, Roller?
Yes, sir.
As a parent yourself, this would be probably the best birth control New York City has ever had. If they get a bunch of young people to sign up to do this, they're going to walk out of that park and say, I'm good for now.
That's it. Yeah,
I need a few more years under my
while.
belt before I'm ready for this.
Yeah, exactly. I was an only child, so I'm like you, Broomhead. In Florida, we ran around, and in our day, the parents didn't have a lot of patience for us. If you misbehaved, you got smacked.
You did. You did. Yeah, my father looked like Indiana Jones peeling that belt off of his waist.
Never forget the sounds.
Never forget the sounds. All right, coming up in a minute, we're going to finish our show off with what we call our story roundup. We'll get to this here in just a moment. Let's talk about protecting your home and why I recommend Bulldog security screens. Now, you have options. We all know that there are other options out there. But why the Bulldog? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, they protect like a fortress. I was given an opportunity to try to defeat or break in to real windows in their testing lab, whether it was, sliding windows or it was French doors or sliding doors. They gave me every opportunity to break in, and I was there for an hour, multiple tools, including a sledgehammer. I could not break through these screens. And they come with a no break-in guarantee. They're the only ones that are custom built right here in the state of Arizona. 100% construction supporting the Arizona economy. They are custom measured. There's a custom installation. They block out UV rays, so it's going to keep your home a little cooler in the summertime. All of these advantages are available. Make an appointment and find out if they're right for your home. BulldogSecurityScreens.com. That's BulldogSecurityScreens.com. Insist on the Bulldog, because Bulldog Security Screens, they're tough.
Road Trip with Amazing Arizonans from KTAR. Mike Broomhead sits down with Valley chef, restaurateur, and TV host Mark Tarbell, KTAR's own Arizona Broadcast Hall of Famer Becky Lynn, and former Vice President of the United States, Dan Quayle. These episodes plus a lot more conversations between Mike Broomhead and Amazing Arizonans on the podcast page at KTAR.com, on our YouTube channel, and on the KTAR News app. Amazing Arizonans is presented by Resolution Copper.
What keeps you up at night? Do you wonder if what you've saved will be enough? If your money will go as far as you plan? Or whether your retirement will look the way you imagine? What worries you? Everyone's concern is different, but ignoring it won't make it disappear. This is Ron Paul. You may not be able to predict what comes next, but you can take steps now to diversify your savings with precious metals before uncertainty becomes urgency. My friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit explaining how gold can help diversify your IRA or 401k. Just text the word SECURE to the number 989898. There's no cost and no obligation. Just free information to help you consider your option. Take the first step with Birch Gold. Text the word SECURE to the number 989898.
Hi, folks. Jody Jackson here. My friends at Y-Refi are humbled to be this year's co-presenting sponsor of the Phoenix Children's Hospital Give-a-thon. And at Y-Refi, they understand college didn't turn out how a lot of us hoped. The degree? Check. But the debt and detours, not what anyone planned. That's why Y-Refi helps struggling borrowers refinance private student loans with a plan that actually works. Visit YRefi.com today. That's YREFY.com. Y-Refi is not available in all states.
Hey, we've said it, and now Ranking Arizona confirms it. America Roofing #1, ranked #1, the top roofing contractor 2026. Yep, what an honor for Jake, Josh, Tracy, and 500 employees statewide, because home or business, repair or replace, and we've had America Roofing do both at Costa Galvisi. Book the best at AmericaRoofingCo.com. Ranking Arizona's #1 roofing company. Even better, get a free inspection and save 12% at AmericaRoofingCo.com.
White spots on your dishes? It's not your dishwasher. It's your water. Hard water leaves buildup on more than just your dishes. From your pipes to your appliances, don't let it take a toll on your home. And right now, you can save up to $500 on a Connecticut whole home water solution when you mention Gatos. Improve your water with Aquazona. Call 602-910-6570. 602-910-6570 or visit Aquazona.com. Aquazona Connecticut, your authorized independent Connecticut dealer.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Over 35 years, I've seen it all. Car crashes, work injuries, defective products, medical mistakes, lives flipped upside down in an instant. But I've also seen something else, the power of fighting back, the power of winning. Over $30 billion recovered and counting. Size matters, reputation matters, results matter. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Arizona lawyer will handle Arizona cases. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
KTAR News Flash.
Coming up on 11:48. Good morning. I'm John Roller. This is what you need to know right now. Israel's prime minister rejecting President Donald Trump's announced deal for Gaza and says Israeli forces won't withdraw from the Palestinian territory until Hamas disarms. Meanwhile, more details are emerging on Iran and Oman's deal to manage the Strait of Hormuz, but Tehran suggests that vessels linked to hostile countries will be barred. Chandler is moving to get rid of the 40 flock cameras in its boundaries, which are used by police to get data on where vehicles are moving. That decision came after the city learned on Thursday a Chandler PD employee may have misused the flock system that is now under investigation. And a drink spiking prevention program now in effect in the city of Tempe, requiring about 60 bars and restaurants to offer or sell drink spike detection kits to its customers. All of our stories just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app.
And Doug.
Hot dog!
Get your hot dog!
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct, to the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Gatos. I'm here with Jamie, the owner of Southwest Blinds and Shutters. And tell me one tip you'd give homeowners when they're shopping for window treatments.
Read the fine print. Most people are shocked to find out that when they buy, especially motorized shades, the motors are only covered for 5 years. We created the Everything's Covered guarantee. If anything breaks, we'll take care of it. Product, motors, service, everything.
The only company covering motorized shades for life. SouthwestBlinds.com.
That's SouthwestBlinds.com.
He's your Huckleberry. He's Mike Broomhead. And this is another Story Roundup.
All right, hope you guys are ready. We got a good one. So the storm rolled through the valley last night. Did you happen to see what happened at the concert venue, at the pavilion, the outdoor venue?
I saw some clips this morning, people getting drenched.
Yeah, so John Mellencamp was playing, known as John Cougar when I was a young guy. John Cougar Mellencamp. So he kicked off the concert with a song called I Need a Lover, but in the middle of it, all hell broke loose and they had to cancel the show.
Ugh.
Did you see him squeegeeing the stage?
No.
It was crazy.
Wow.
So not only was there a lot of damage around town, John Cougar was interrupted. John Mellencamp.
Yeah, talking stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend text me the video, and he kept singing, but boy, the rain and the wind was going sideways.
Yeah.
His hair was going sideways. We know he doesn't have a hairpiece.
That's true.
He's got real hair.
He's a true professional. This one is sad. There was an update, and I bring this up because as much as I disagreed with politics, the former president, Joe Biden, has prostate cancer. I think most people remember the report. But Hunter Biden gave an update on this, and he said the cancer has spread, metastasized into his bones and further. It's very painful, and it's very debilitating in many respects. And so political disagreements aside, it's a horrible disease, and you just don't want to see people suffer. And I just wanted to update people, the former president. And so that's something to keep in mind. It's tough.
Cancer sucks.
It sucks, and it sucks even in politics like this. You got to be able to set that stuff aside, man. That's a horrible disease. Let's shift. Do any of you have vanity license plates, specialty plates?
No, I don't.
I do.
No.
I do.
Yeah,
so I got the Gold Star family plates. It's for families that have lost people in the military. And I'm going to lighten this up because my family's got a sick sense of humor. Let me tell you, it used to be that there were only 4 characters allowed, and that includes a space. So you can only have 4 characters. So my first set of those plates said TB20 because my brother's initials are TB, and his number in high school was 20. So my license plate was TB20. Because originally, which I have on my car now, it has Tom B because his name is Tom Broomhead. Well, if it's only 4 characters, that spells tomb.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh.
Yeah. So I thought that's probably going to look morbid to most people, and I don't want to have to explain to people why I have tomb on the back of my car. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't able to change it till it expanded to 5 characters. So, that's the reason. I just thought I'd bring that up. But the specialty license plates are bringing in $15.8 million a year. They've crossed over 1 million specialty plates in Arizona.
Yeah, I see them more out on the roads now.
Yeah, and you can do them. You support fire and police. The 100 Club has theirs. The Gold Star plates supports MAM or Military Assistance Mission. There's a lot of them that are out there. So they're pretty cool if you want to support a good cause in a fun way. This one is quite possibly the most disturbing thing that I've read this morning, and this one just proves that the people that work on this show know me very, very well, including Elizabeth. A woman in Orangevale, California, found a ball python in her toilet.
Ooh. Insane.
If I were going to find a snake in my house, the toilet would be the appropriate place for what was about to happen.
Scary.
Oh, terrifying. So they think that it escaped. It was a pet that escaped, but it had to get in her house and it had to get in her toilet.
Maybe it came from another house, down the toilet, and up through her
yeah,
toilet.
I guess it could. I don't want to even think about that. So Gen Z ghosting habits go from dating to the workplace. Have any of you ever been ghosted?
No.
Oh, don't look at me like that. I get ghosted all the time. I'm pathetic. Gen Z, they're saying it's increasingly happening that young workers are bringing a dating habit to the workplace, ghosting. Employers are just getting ghosted by employees, which in my day was an absolute job killer because they would tell future employees, they aren't going to tell you a lot, but if I call up for a reference on you, we would say they just never showed back. I never heard from them again. And that was a big red flag. Do you think it's still a red flag?
Yes, but I also think that there should be a balance between communication when you're not getting paid.
Okay. So I have a test in front of me from the Wall Street Journal that I'm going to ask the young people here. This is an exception. Radio's a different world. At least on the air, it's a different world. What is an appropriate way, and it isn't about being too revealing, what's an appropriate way to dress at work? All right, you just got a big bonus. You reward yourself by buying a Rolex and a Schnell bag, which both of you can relate to. Is it okay to wear them to work?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Really? It says only if it's understated was the most popular answer. That there are people say you could, but you don't want to be too flashy.
Oh.
Your office is business casual, but you enjoy wearing a suit. Should you wear the suit or should you tone it down a little bit?
Wear the
Tone
suit.
it down.
Okay.
I mean, that's just me.
When you meet with a client, what's your wardrobe plan? To wear the best suit that you have, or do you want to make sure you're going to try to dress to equal it? You don't want to overdress the client. You don't want to beat the client.
Best suit.
Best suit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Best, yep.
Is it okay to wear shorts to work?
No.
We got some shorts in this office right
We
now,
do.
I think.
Radio's different.
There you go.
All right, we're out of time. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:15. The Flock camera people join us. Have a great day. God bless.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need to get the job done. With fast delivery you can depend on and access to technical product experts ready to help you meet any challenge. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
Knows when it's 3 a.m. and you can't sleep, your mind starts racing, asking the big questions.
Why doesn't glue stick to the inside of the bottle? How come you never see baby pigeons? Am I breathing weird right now, or have I always breathed like this?
Progressive can't help with those questions. But if the question keeping you up at night is about your insurance, rest assured, we're here online when you need us, 24/7, 365.
But seriously, where are all the baby pigeons?
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states or situations.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
KTAR-FM, Glendale, Phoenix.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250 micro. And yes, I told you so.
It's Gatos, and I'm hanging out with Eric, the owner of Hanson Family Air Conditioning and Plumbing, and you once told me you treat every client like your grandmother. What does that mean?
Years ago, I was working with a sweet little old lady. My boss wanted me to charge $3,000 for a $700 job. I couldn't overcharge my customers, and I couldn't sleep at night. That's when I started Hanson Family Air Conditioning and Plumbing, where we treat everybody like family.
Yeah, that's my kind of company. Hanson Family Air Conditioning and Plumbing. 602-609-7161. HansonFamilyPlumbing.com.
I'm Javier Soto. When something changes in the Valley, ABC 15 helps you understand what it means for you with dedicated reporters